Welcome back, one and all, to the road to the Esports World Cup here for the North American qualifiers for League of Legends. It has been a long road to get here, make no mistake about it, but we are finally here with the finals. And on this particular road trip, I am honoured to hand the proverbial Orcs lead to none other than Jamada.
Wow, what a handover. Thank you very
quite
much.
Pleased with it.
I'm happy to be here today. Again, another day of qualifiers here. The final day of qualifiers, of course. Winner gets to go to EWC. And I think if you asked many North American fans who their two teams were to be in these finals, not many would have one of them down for sure, to say the least, the Sentinels.
Indeed, and of course our two teams here in the finals are Sentinels and FlyQuest. Ignore the LCS domestic results. The teams that have managed to overcome every single obstacle to make it all the way to this final hurdle are indeed Sentinels and FlyQuest, who have done it in such spectacular fashion as well. Sentinels going the high road of the upper bracket, and FlyQuest defeating Team Liquid twice across their run, including yesterday in that lower bracket finals, to make it all the way here to get that rematch against Sentinels, who you'll note they fought not so long ago themselves.
Yeah, honestly, it's quite funny getting so many of these different rematches. Right? But, you know, one, nature of the double elimination bracket, of course, but two, just with the 8 teams, you tend to get this kind of crossover, especially when you've got the domestic league going on at the same time, where teams do play each other, right? And we've had both of these teams not only play each other already here in the EWC qualifiers, the road to them, but domestically, where it also went to 3 games, much like that first series here in the qualifiers in the upper bracket final.
Really exciting stuff. And speaking of exciting stuff, let's have a look at that FlyQuest roster, because they were pulling out some absolute fire yesterday. You're hearing it here from us, so if you weren't here yesterday, you should really go and look at those VODs. I mean, after the series, of course. But because we were seeing people like Griffin pull out the likes of the NASA's jungle, and not just pull it out, absolutely decane stomp them all. This roster has been so much fun to watch. They are absolute psychopaths. They are crazy in the draft. They are very entertaining. And when they're on, Jamala, they are really on.
Yeah, it really does feel like that a lot of the time with FlyQuest, right? When things click, they click hard. And subsequently, and we kind of got both sides of this coin in that last series yesterday. When it doesn't click, man, it does fall apart, right? Things come off very quickly. And so that is really what makes a large part of the enjoyment of spectating this FlyQuest team, is very much that. There is that level of volatility, but that skill expression does close the gap so many times.
It really does. And when you've got people like Gakos pulling out some of those crazy run performances, Griffin with all of those crazy picks, Masu obviously quite a kind of a hotshot AD carry coming up from that academy seed, and Quad, who is the veteran member, trying to hold all of these young gun psychopaths in check with his control mage play. It's been really fun to watch. But of course, all of this excitement, all of this volatility is kind of matched by their opposite numbers in Sentinels, who may not be having the best time in the LCS, but Golden Glue, their coach, was saying, look, we are just a team that can beat anyone and lose to anyone, and much like FlyQuest, have got a bit of explosivity to them, have got a bit of volatility to them. That is just as true about Sentinels. It's partly why today, I mean, I couldn't tell you who's coming out with it.
Yeah, I mean, neither could I, and we did speak about that Golden Glue interview, not at particular depth or anything, but we brought it up, and it really does make you think, right? Sentinels are 1-3 domestically in the LCS, and they've had a mixture of opponents, right, where they've played C9, they've played DSG, they played TL, and FlyQuest, right? They've gone up and down the table. But all of these series have gone the distance, and all of them were pretty damn winnable. Like, we could be having a completely different conversation about them being 4-0 right now. So, very exciting team to watch, and more so because of it feels this split that they've been playing at the level of their opponent. Like, whatever version of their opponent shows up, they're just matching it, and they're going blow for blow. And it is the kind of day like today where you need a little bit more, right? Best of 5. You need to stretch your legs a bit in many aspects of your play.
And I think where we're going to see a lot of that stretching as well is in that creativity in the draft. Both of these teams have some spicy picks to pull up. They pulled them out here in the EWC qualifiers, make no mistake about it. We were just chatting through it of things like Huhi pulling out the Amumu support. We've been chatting about Griffin and the NASA's jungle. And this is a full best of 5 today, guys. We are not going home after just 3 games. Hell, even just 2 games potentially if a team was really snowballing hard of it. We are realistically looking at quite a few games today, and that means Fearless is going to be putting us through through our paces, a lot of those champions are going to be coming out, which, knowing these teams, will be not what we are expecting in the slightest.
No. Mentioned Griffin's champion pool. Even on the side of Sentinels, however, priorities are just kind of different, right? You look at the jungle. Skarner is the big narrative point around Harmbach and his play, and the overall kind of difference. It's funny, we brought up that stat line about Gakkos from the LCS, how before last weekend, because the stats are updated now, 4-0 on carries, 0-4 on tanks. With Harmbach, very similar statistic where they won all their games of Skarner, but they've lost almost everything else. And so now, when it comes to the best of fives, what is that going to look like for him? But then the mid lane too, right? The mid jungle is so important in this meta. Darkwings has a very static champion pool. It is not particularly depthy. It can be targeted. It's very much about the control mages and not much else. So in the best of five now for Sentinels, how's that going to look being tested in spring?
Absolutely. And of course, if this isn't enough EWC action, you can also come across the pond to Emir, where the quals have kicked off as of the 28th, so yesterday. So into the second round today. There's a couple of matches already happening. KC up in their matchup against SK, whereas on the other side, I just got a note from my production team that MKOI beat Vitality in game 1, so those series are still ongoing. Highly recommend checking those out. After this series, obviously, we're not having you guys go anywhere. The finals are happening right now, but giving you guys a little bit of an update there. And again, quick note on the stakes. Win today here in the EWC Qualifier NA, you are going to the Esports World Cup. And no ifs, ands, or buts. That is the guarantee. If you lose, there is an outside chance of making it, but it is narrow, and that basically means that whoever wins today also wins the LCS, and then the second place team here would win. But that is not what you want to rely on. You want to win here today and just guarantee it now, because there is just so much money and prestige on the line. Why on earth would you leave it to chance? You can also, of course, just win the LCS. But hey, you've made it to the finals here already. Why play it out for another month or so longer?
Yeah, get it done now. Get it done now. Get it done now. And especially, not to, I suppose, play down on Sentinels here, but I feel like this is a little bit more impactful for Sentinels, right? You're 1-3 right now domestically inside of the LCS. You qual to EWC through the qualifiers. That feels really good, right? You're only really then chasing the title, the qualification to MSI. That feels real nice. Whereas on the side of FlyQuest, again, feels good for them too, but they're probably the third-ish team in that race for Sentinels. The likelihood that they go the distance domestically feels a little bit lower just because of how they started off so far.
I agree with that one entirely. We are going to get through to draft for our first game of this grand finals here. One last pit stop on the road. And all of those puns will continue from my end, because you know what I'm like as a caster at this point. But still, bans are going to come on through very early. Sentinels, by the looks of it, with the fact that they are banning Ambassadors, will also have first pick. Again, worth noting to those of you who have not been paying as much attention to Pro League this year, they've kind of started to decouple side select and first pick. So Sentinels likely with that first pick. And as we have been asking, the lessons have been learned. Skarner gets banned.
No games. No further games. There's no messing around and finding out. Just get it gone straight away. I do feel like with this Skarner ban, though, it is going to end up leaving quite a few powerful champions up in this game 1, right? Things like the Pantheon, potentially the Orianna. Might need to be the last ban from FlyQuest, unless they're just going to try and look to trade it with the Rise. Things of this nature going to have to come to fruition here, because, we're getting a lot of targeted bans. Nocturne is the final thing gone away by FlyQuest, and like we're saying, so many powerful picks. The Orianna is the first to go, but now is it just Rise and the Pantheon, right? Double global mid jungle, super powerful Ashe Seraphine as well. So many options.
I mean, the Rumble's up. I know that's not quite as high prio here in NA, but again, we saw Gakkos pop off on it just yesterday. Impact's put years into the Rumble. Hell, he was playing that way back in World winning teams of 2030. He's been playing for a very long time. Compare that to someone like Cryogen, who's born in 2007, where me and Adrian went, oh my days, he's younger than Halo 3. So we had a horrible feeling there. There's just this kind of incredible range of experience, and not in this series today as well. We'll probably get into that whole narrative by bend a little later. But it does mean with all of these picks up, we are likely looking at a very high-powered draft. And the gauntlet and the gambit that is being played by both teams is we're going to trade some of these S-tier picks. Orianna on one side, Ashe Seraphine on the other. Caitlyn gets locked in. And of course, Huhi has been really enjoying that Anivia support. A very good way of punishing a very immobile bot lane in terms of the Seraphine and the Ashe.
Yeah, we definitely have seen some varied success on this pick. I'm not too bought in unless your name is on and maybe a few other players around the world. That
I know
said,
where you're coming from. Yeah,
the power of being able to find that stun at long range, the missile speed of an Anivia Q is just very awkward. It's kind of like Ashe Arrow, where it does make you second guess yourself a little bit. So we'll see, because obviously you get the stun out of that into the trap. It is a very, very bursty combo. But in lane, if you don't find these big bursts of damage that can't be, sustained up, all of a sudden you do get eventually out-sustained if you're just giving over a little bit of chip damage at best. So they really have to go very, very hard in the paint, and Harmbuck is going to have to try and find something super aggressive in the jungle, which is being banned away here by FlyQuest. Jarvan is the first one to go.
All I'm saying is, and what I'm hearing, is that clearly in the inevitable League Souls-like game, Anivia Q is going to be that really annoying move that you never know when to dodge roll on.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, Sam.
Adrian wasn't expecting that. He's like, "Why have you taken us to this place?
Why this path? This is a weirder path than I was expecting." I am surprised that Akali is the first thing to go from quad here.
It's very good.
I am
with
still
the potential
thinking,
pick, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. I am, however, still just thinking about the Rise right now. Surely it has to be removed because of the strength of the champion. But again, Rise Pantheon, Ashe Seraphine. Rise is one of the few mages that can really deathball too, and they're gonna ban away the Ornn.
Okay.
So,
unless do they want to pick up the Rise themselves and do something crazy like put the Rise top? I mean, they're locking in they're locking in Azir. They've just said we don't want the. That is very unusual because I'm there.
They
with
just
you.
don't want the matchup. I mean,
no,
that's the only thing that really makes sense, right? And so now from the side of Sentinels, they did ban out the Ornn, which does signal to one of these kind of carry picks like a Rumble. You just less so that you won't win the matchup, you just want it to be nullified a little bit less. You want the comp to have a little bit less about them. So likely Gakkos, if this Rumble is locked in, leans on the Cassante. Very boring matchup, seen 100 times, yes, but also Gakkos is pretty proficient on the champion in terms of just individual mechanics. And double dips, right? I spoke about the tank against carry perspective. Obviously, more people are going to associate Cassante being a tank, and certainly agree, but guys, when he presses that R button, he's a bruiser for 15, 20 seconds. So he gets to kind of have a little bit of a cheat code, and hey, Xin Zhao is the final lock in there. So they've got that early aggression to try and match Griffin.
And again, between that and the ability to just dash forward with the ball on top of your head, you may not be a Malphite, but Xin Zhao will do just fine in a pinch for being a ball delivery system here, and that may well be pretty good. I'm looking at both teams here, and I'm thinking, seeing some pretty nasty death balls. Yes, obviously, Ashe Seraphine very potent with that. Pair that up with things like a Scion, potentially. Scion plus Enchanter backline plus DPS core behind it. We have all seen it in Pro League at this point. The other side for Sentinels, it's a little bit more off the wall in the terms of the full combination, but what it is providing is a lot of AoE zone control and damage. Equalizers and Glacial Storms and Crescent Guards, Orianna Shockwave threatening space, Traps threatening space, the walls as well. Getting in and staying safe as FlyQuest could get pretty dicey in these big fights, especially if they don't track where some of these potential equalizers and big ultimates could come from.
Yeah, I could definitely see Anivia's kit being very problematic for anyone who's not named Quad in this game. So definitely have to check themselves in terms of walking into chokes. Obviously, there's the Orianna. Overall, area control is going to be a really big deal. FlyQuest need to make it into objectives first, just because if they don't, they're staring down Orianna ball, Caitlyn traps, even to a degree the equalizer if it's a choke point, right? So trying to secure priority around these objectives, especially in the mid game, but even maybe earlier on the first dragon, could be a huge difference maker in terms of how comfortable your contest is on those objectives and how hard it is to actually secure them.
Yeah.
Because again, Sentinels will just cave your head in the second that you walk in.
I completely agree with you. And look, you've got a Scion, there's a Seraphine behind you. Maybe you can try and brute force in, especially with, say, Ashe Hawkshot, just map hacks because you have an E key on Ashe, which maybe there's some ways to do it. But even then, it sounds pretty miserable. And maybe like Scion ulting down the river doesn't even work necessarily because the Anivia presses W and there's a wall in front of you, and you have a full-on Looney Tunes moment where you slam your head into a wall, like we've seen it all the time with Anivia into Sion at this point. There are a lot of these things to keep our eyes on, so that does mean I'm completely there with you. You want to be in the river first, I think, as both teams, because otherwise either it's a nightmare to face check, or B, you want to be setting up all of this zone control and fortifications that you've built into your kit and built into your team comp.
Yeah, and much like when we were talking about how some of the compositions would work yesterday, this is a scenario where I feel like both teams ideally just want to play front to back. There isn't really a version of a team fight where there's some crazy dive that I think is preferential, unless it's catching people who are just stragglers off guard, rotating a little bit late. So the team fighting might actually be quite standard for the most part. I don't think we're going to get anything too out of the, ordinary. We're not going to see anything super creative, just because I don't feel like these drafts necessarily demand it out of any of the players.
And because I think they're playing in relatively similar ways, and I've just got word from production that will be heading on to the Rift so we can continue this conversation with the scenes of Summoner's Rift to add a little bit of extra entertainment. I hear that's what you guys are all here for, but what do I know? I think there is going to be a slight difference in terms of those front to backs. Like, yes, of course, one side is kind of running with the equalizers and the glacial storms and all that kind of zone control that comes with that, whereas the other is like, hey, I've got a Seraphine with a massive front line, and we can play kind of that style of front to back with the shields and the sort of slow grind down. Realistically, they're both in similar kind of spiking times and where they want to be on the map, how they want to do objectives. So I'm kind of there with you. I guess then the question becomes, like, if one team gets ahead, how many tools do you have to unpick an advantage if both of you are trying to do the same things in the same ways at the same kind of times?
That is where things like tempo come into effect, right? When you have compositions that are, I don't want to say identical, because these teams definitely aren't.
They're not, but yeah,
a lot of
a
lot of these champions share very similar archetypes in terms of what they want to do in the 5v5. Almost always about tempo, securing waves, where your jungler is as well. Big deal. Those first early pathings, super important for dictating, the first 10 minutes of the game. And in this case, both of these junglers starting on the top side of the map, pathing down to the Caitlyn lane, which is no big surprise. Speaking of, Sentinels have a lot of prio here. Huhi using that, additional HP that he technically has on the back burner with the passive to pretty good effect.
Of course, Anivia, while she's got the passive, one of the most obnoxious champions in the game, can step forward, threaten with the wall all the time. The moment the passive goes down, the bird becomes incredibly vulnerable. I could point to a particular on-Ivia game over from BLG where that kind of happened, and similarly with Makos, a little bit of the LPL specialty, the Anivia support, ever since sort of that first down space. And we've seen the highs and lows of this champion, but right now, it's going to be Rahul and Huhi getting a nice early shove into this Ashe Seraphine, which kind of has been a bit of a question that's been posed to pretty much every region, every team around the world. What do you do against the Ashe Seraphine? How do you deal with it? Can you deal with it? Because it's very lane dominant, also scales incredibly well, and so at the very least, you want to be able to try and do something about it. And right now, for Caitlyn and Anivia, be able to get at least these early shoves.
Yeah, Caitlyn and Anivia are really good. Caitlyn lanes in general, I think, are fine. I think... Oh, wow.
Nice.
Great stuff. Good combo. Not going to blow the egg, but both these ADCs, well, might soon. Really important to note, as the trade is going to come to its end. One, Armbar, I thought he was about to skip his Skull Crown.
I know.
Two, though, Griffin completely just failed on the bot side. He did his Krugs first, then his red buff. Just said, look, I'm getting my camps to spawn in sequence on their next rotation. Good luck, guys. I'm headed top scrab. I don't want anything to do with this. And now, this could be the ramification of that.
There's the flash, there's a shield with the surround sound, but I don't know whether your sound system is going to be enough to get you out of danger here. You are going to be done in for some violation of the noise codes. Huhi does go down to his egg form, so doesn't get scrambled, but hey, worth noting, that's a very long cooldown in the early stages. One of the longest cooldowns in the game, as I understand it as well, so Huhi, even without the mana, being very obnoxious, first blood goes the way of Hambak, and the early pressure will continue until morale improves. Spoiler, Sentinels are hoping it doesn't.
Spoiler, it doesn't. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But of course, that first kill going over to Hambak. Hambak, one of the main drivers of just success for Sentinels in a lot of their wins. And on a pick like Xin Zhao, we'll be very happy to start getting up and personal with a lot of members of FlyQuest when he feels like it. I'm actually going to keep my eye on whether or not they'll try and invade this next chicken camp respawn. Does feel like something they'd want to do. They do have some timers for it.
You do indeed. You can see the missing pings on it right now. Of course, Quad did just go for a little bit of a shuffle. Look who's also in the lane. It's Huhi with a potential lane gank, kind of expecting potentially some interference here, perhaps on that reset of those Raptors. Will instead now come on forward and look to get his own wards down and clear out what's going on in the jungle. Worth noting, of course, doesn't have that egg, so theoretically could be at a vulnerable point here should the Pantheon go forward, but it's just resetting. Kind of leave that alone. Masu taking the opportunity with Cryogen to get a little bit of shove of their own. Of course, just going to see Zenithia walk down towards this bot lane, having done their little jaunt through mid lane. Handback going to go for this early dragon, early smite. Again, does have those 2 charges. He's just trying to speed his way through that as fast as possible. Level 5 dragons, exactly that.
Too much prio to really deal with here, FlyQuest. Griffin, he's going to get there late. He knows what's going on. He just wants to try and get some information. That control ward isn't quite deep enough, I actually think, to even see the dragon, as the Q is going to hold impact in his place. That could have been a pretty nasty trade, actually, if he got the Flame Spear off. I'm assuming he had it, and that's why he primed the equalizer the way he did.
Possibly, I suspect, looking to get a bit of a reset off potentially, but then again, he's just the teleport, so I'm not so sure. Maybe it's just a shove and a play for the Scuttle Crab spawning. He's pinging that way.
Yep, he's on the way. We'll check it. Dropped a ward, so we'll have information that Griffin is there. Harmbach is absolutely sprinting, but I'm going to make the assumption he'll be late to that one. Early heal, just to make sure that they don't get run down. Really smart from Huhi.
Yeah, really good stuff on that front as well. Playing this out very well. Of course, he's always been a bit of a mad genius. We've got a lot of those on the rep today. We've been chatting about Griffin's champion pool, but he has also been doing some pretty weird stuff across his career. And a reminder, back in the day on CLG, he was that Aurelion Sol mid main. He's always been a bit of a roaming specialist with some of those more unusual champions to his name. Has been a fan of the Amumu as well, as Masu was looking for a bit of a chunk there. So while I'm doing a bit of a narrative, Ben, he's looking for arrogant plays. Unfortunately, that arrogance will see his wings swiftly clipped as Griffin goes, well, I guess that's a free man drop.
Yep, good stuff there. Won't be punished either. Griffin made this play whilst all of his top camps are up. Harmbach not quite in a position, or perhaps willing to run straight across and maybe grab some of those camps. And you can see, actually, Gakko's dropped a ward on the blue, or rather the Gromp on the way up, and there's a missing ping on the blue. From, I could only assume Griffin thinking some of those camps might be missing. But they're not. They're going to be there when he gets back. Good play overall.
I think so. And that kind of still leaves Sentinels with the early gold lead hit is worth noting by the by. Mostly off, of course, the fact that bot lane, Rahel is up quite a significant amount of CS. Similarly, bit of a lead in top and in mid. Orianna, as ever, incredibly obnoxious in lane, guys. Partly why she's banned all the time. She team fights really well. She bullies pretty much every champion in meta at the minute because everyone wants to play control mages. And Orianna has a little passive called Clockwork Wind Up, and it does, in fact, wind up most people. She's just a bit of a comedian.
6 out of 10.
I know, I've done better.
Yeah. Harmbach is now going to be on the bot side when these grubs spawn up. And I mentioned that more because 1, Griffin is up there, and 2, obviously there was that early Drake that went over the Sentinels. It seems like it will just be an effective handshake for those mutual objectives, the first spawn up. So no major fight in the first 8 minutes of the game over those primary objectives. There's an ult from Gakko's impact.
Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah.
Wow, forces a flash there as well. Nicely done. Again, Gakkos, there was a little graphic that was pulled up on LCS domestically where they were chatting about how Gakkos on tanks, maybe not the greatest compared to his plays. Actually, not flashes forwards! And he does not play the Zion-like attack. That looks like an assassin to me.
Dude, where's the tier, man? Like, just get that Titanic Hydra going, big boy. Don't wait.
What's Bounce been doing on his stream? Pull it up. Have a look.
Yeah, I mean, Blue has flashed, what, 15 seconds ago? Goes, all right, well, if you're going to step back up, I'll happily take your head for it. Gets himself a nice little reward inside of that kill. I think he took a plate, too, off the back of it. So, very, very good for this lane in terms of just neutralizing the Rumble.
Oh, dear.
So this is how it all happened. He just got clipped by the edge. Impact. of that decimating smash. Flashes out the initial combo, and then you go what?
Can't
10
stay
seconds
around,
in?
man.
Is it just flash auto Q? Is it even a W pop?
I think so.
No, okay, it's enough time. Yeah, I mean, just connects on the E. Flash forward and hit the Q. I mean, good stuff regardless, and Impact just a little bit too disrespectful.
Couple moments now where we've seen a little bit of disrespect. Of course, he made that very aggressive move, but was immediately punished by that Grand Starfall from Griffin. Then we kind of saw as well the fact that the Scion that had actually been getting pushed in pretty heavily suddenly managed to find that 1v1. And honestly, that's been really good news for FlyQuest. Again, for those of you who were here yesterday, you'll remember the Liquid, particularly in those first 2 games, were very able to pick up some good early laning leads. It was the mid-game where things started to go wrong because FlyQuest were just so relentless in not giving up and looking for plays and trusting in the fact that at some point, someone will put their hand a little too far into that cookie jar and FlyQuest could punish. They're doing that a little bit earlier this time around in the laning phase with some good ganks and some just good plays on the Scion there to turn things around in the 1v1. Dragon, about 10 seconds off. Reminder again that Sentinels have got that first one. So we'll see whether the side of FlyQuest want to contest that, but with the fact that Griffin is very much top lane looking to punish Impact, who was on that shove, they would rather just ult top and get things snowballing. Griffin finds himself 2-0. But we'll give Han back the opportunity to start with this Dragon.
Yeah, there won't be a crazy big take on this besides the kill, though, because it looks like Gekos wants to reset, and a lot of that wave got chunked out by the Equalizer. And so the cross-map play, I feel like it's just... You know, it's good that FlyQuest are getting something on the other side of the map. They understand that the Dragon isn't going to be theirs, but this just still feels so weighted in favor of Sentinels. No matter how you want to splice it, they get a Dragon. It will be Infernal Rift and Soul we end up getting. And in a game that should be dictated by mid-game team fights, being 2 dragons up 11 minutes into the game does definitely get you feeling pretty good if you're a Sentinels fan.
Like, it's not quite catch 22 yet, but we're definitely on catch 21 at this point. We'll look at Impact as he gets jumped on. We're trying to get this wave shoved. Realizes he's in danger, goes, cool, I'm equalizing the wave, but he's a dead man at this point. Ult from Griffin, and well, there's not a lot to write home about that. It's just ganking the shoving rumble. To live we go, though. Encore comes on forward. A lot of stun there onto Handback against his own ult. Kryden very low. Flashes over the wall and stays alive, but that is leaving Griffin pretty out on the low. He's left low, tries to shield bolt forward. Had to avert our eyes briefly as out comes the Glacier Storm again. Gakos, I'm not sure about this TP. Masu goes in and really regrets it. Impact's also here. It's getting messy for FlyQuest. The wall comes up in 2 different varieties. One's full of sand soldiers, the other full of hooks. Gakos alone versus 5 whole members will eventually burn up. The zombie form is there to clear up the way, but that's about it. FlyQuest, that was not a great team fight.
No one on Sentinels falls. And several kills go on to some pretty important members. Humbug, a very big beneficiary of this exchange. And it felt as though at first, when you see the Encore kind of just glide across the screen, it landed onto Humbug, maybe they'd have enough damage to get onto him. But it's this initial chunk here onto Cryogen. And of course, Masu that just makes this too disadvantageous, right? Griffin doesn't have any additional follow-up from the rest of the team. Cryogen is forced to flash out because Rahel just chipping away at their health bars. Griffin forced to commit fully. And then this TP from Gakos. It's not bad, but the fight's already almost over at this point. Quad, his ult is flashed away from by Harmbuk, and honestly, I feel like Harmbuk just ends up doing a lot of work in this skirmish in terms of taking a lot of that initial engage and just surviving.
Yeah, I mean, he got hit by the arrow and the Encore, and then does, you know, near enough 3,000 gold worth, or 3,000 gold, 3,000 damage in the team fight. I was trying to, like, qualify damage as, like, a stat, as I know it is just damage. There's no additional unit there. 3,000 Teemos worth of damage.
Teemos.
You've got the ritual measurement in League of Legends. It's true, yeah.
That's the distance metric,
That's just,
you know?
That's
You've got a...
True. What would your champion choice be for the damage metric if you were going to do, like, the equivalent of Teemo?
Twisted Fate, Sivir, or Samira.
Ooh, I think Samira is a fun one because you can have, like, the different, like, style ranks to see how well you did in your damage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I think aesthetically that will work quite well in the UI.
That is true. She also... I can't remember what taunt button it is, but she, like, quite literally tosses a coin.
A single gold coin, yeah. I really want someone to get, like, an Elder Execute with that at some point, just for the style points, but yet to see that one. If someone ever does that, send me a link. I'd love to see it because I feel like the aura farming would be pretty off the charts there. Speaking of off the charts, let's probably also look at some of said charts, namely the gold graph, because Sentinels, after that fight, find themselves with a fairly significant gold lead, Adrian.
Big bump up, almost 3K. And the quite scary thing if you're a FlyQuest fan is it is spread relatively evenly across the map here. I think the only person who is going to be ahead is Ghost, and getting confirmation of that from the side. And even that's only a 200 gold lead, so yeah, the rest of FlyQuest significantly further behind than they'd like to be right now, and that's a huge combo. Cryo just dead.
All right, Huhi, you've got the Anivia pass. You are allowed to fly Anivia Air. That is some nasty wall combo. He's got the rower in inventory already. Bot lane, though, we've got to talk about this Rumble who's been ganked again. We've seen these equalizers used as wave clear and nothing else, I think.
Yeah, I was about to question the flash, but the fact that he gets the equalizer off, it's a relatively big difference, right? You're talking about he gets gold that he's no longer missing and XP, and Gakkos can't actually push that tower in, right? I'm not sure if there's actually crystalline.
So it would have been dangerous. Yeah,
I'm not sure if there's crystalline crust. I think that's what good old Captain Flowers called it.
I think it's
crusty towers. Oh, hello, Hui.
All right, Flowers, thank you for that wonderful image in my head as I'm watching Hui just about run away. The pages go flying. The Q is just short. He's got a blast cone. There's the egg. They blast cone him over the wall. He's a con. Don't look at him. He's just a crowd. Okay, the egg gets scrambled. I appreciate the attempt at camouflage, but it's not quite enough. And finally, the bird is not the word.
Oh my god, there was so much funny about that. Like the double Q miss, the egg. I'm just the little crunk, guys, and even Quad Soldier not making it over the wall. Recomposing ourselves, though. That's an important death because now all of a sudden Sentinels can't fully take control of the river, and FlyQuest have a little bit more space to walk in.
They do. Eyes on Dark Wings, though. He's got that ball out there. Handback also threatening. Matsu shoving up through mid, and Rahel not over. They'd love to play for the Dragon, understandably soul point for them. Gaxel blast going into the river. Doesn't pull the ultimate. Dragon started. Herald comes on down there. Your Battle Herald, a vehicle for your trouble. The knock up there's the getaway vehicle. He's drive around the books, though, as the Anivia is driven on in. Gakos is getting absolutely annihilated. The equalizer is kind of disgusting. For a second or two longer, Hammer has the flash on out. In goes Quad. It's a big old shuffle. The Emperor divides Sentinels from their life. What are you guarding, Sentinels? Aside from a new cemetery. Griffin goes on and just about gets away with it. Flash over the Flash Frost. And Rahal is looking dead to rights. The attempt to block some of it from impact, but now he's just an additional man on the floor. No way, the bird's not quite enough. And the mech just about escapes. Still, though, 3 for 2. It's FlyQuest just about who come out on top. The arrow lands. He got him.
What a snipe on the back end, and now be Drake going over to FlyQuest, but get a look at this because it's very hard to realize when this fight starts looking FlyQuest favored. But keep your eyes on Cryogen because it's all about the Encore cast here. 4 members, all in a line. Everyone's just getting burned by so much damage by Quad, and then he slides in, finds a 3-man shuffle, and even though he gets shockwaved and dies for his troubles, it does so much work in allowing Cryogen, Marsu, and Griffin to step back up. Rahel can't actually stay alive here. And I want to say it was a scrap shield at the very end. A frame perfect one as, hey, Griffin, he's been caught out, he's going to drop.
Yeah, he's not happy. Darkwings has donated it via the power of a command Dissonance. We'll also pick up this turret down towards the spot zone. First turret of the game, by the way, at 18 minutes. Being much more interested in the bloodbath. We are at 18 kills in 18 minutes, so I am very happy to say we've got ourselves some action, which is not at all unsurprising considering the teams on the rip. Couple eyes on our kill leaders here. Griffin at 5 and 2 did just die, of course, but it's still looking pretty strong. The problem is on the other side, Handback has similarly been getting stuck in, and we were kind of expecting the two of us. It was likely going to be about these two junglers, and what do you know? They've both been having some very good moments.
That they have. I don't want to say they live or die by their junglers, but
That's certainly
say they're willing to follow. That's for sure.
The phrase I tend to use is litmus test, right? In the sense that if one of these two teams is doing well, generally speaking, we're going to see one of them or the other in trouble or doing well. And speaking of being in trouble, Handback just got annihilated. The gank squad comes on forward, and Ash Seraphine, guys, does that quite a lot. And when you've got some follow-up, bad things happen. Darkwings, though, to fly away on home. Gatgos does not get hit by the shockwave, and now Darkwings is running out of options, gets to speed up. And briefly, the rocket belt does not dodge out on the decimating smash, and the robot is left junk on the floor. The wall up to Masu. He's now not having a lot of fun here. Let's get a bit of a shield from the Seraphine over the wall now. He gets down to deliver the TP down the lane. We are still going because
just play on the rumble.
Why wouldn't we? Heal comes on it. Impact with a big old shield, but help brings down Masu. That's at least something. The beat drop is well dodged there by Impact. So Masu forced to take an awkward retreat path, and they do finalize this kill. 2 for 1 in the grand scheme of things, because Handback and Dark Midnight Griffin, I don't know about this one, mate. Ball behind you, the enemies in front. Gonna keep on fighting with the Aegis Assault. Gatgos is down here, because why wouldn't he be? And Adrian, the damage gonna keep on going. Impact, why are you going this way? Does manage to escape briefly, throws down an Electro Harpoon. Gatgos also in this push, and there's control wards there as well. I am gonna need to breathe at some point, but I think, wonderfully, I can now as the action somewhat pauses.
Small ceasefire right now between these two teams.
I'm not sure.
They were not willing to give it up, man. I don't know. It wasn't even over anything particularly. It was just like, hey, this tier 1 tower's dead, and turns to a whole sequence about the entire bot side jungle. There's an arrow flying towards Rumble.
Oh my god. Lads, where is the ult? Yeah, he's going to be in danger here. Keeps Impact in lane, just about glides to the side, but there's still a War of the Slayer throwing a cannon at him. Decimating smash hits!
I think he's alright.
Probably not going to be quite dead. Indeed, he's got a little bit of support in that tri-brush, and Gatgos goes, you know what? I don't think I want to walk into that bush blind. All I am a Scion. We back away, and the action, again, pauses, if only for a moment.
Yeah, the difference there was that Gatgos' W, that Soul Furnace explosion, didn't actually connect onto Impact. If it did, then I want to say there's lethal threat. So Impact even gets to hold onto his flash. Not too worried. And I just want to point to Itemization real quick, because all the time, third items for these bridge junglers, all the junglers are just building the same thing. Thunder Sky, Black Cleaver, and then Guardian Angel. Griffin has elected to go towards Spirit Visage, and honestly, I kind of like it. You know, it's double solo lane, double AP solo laners. It's also an AP support, so the magic resist is very, very valuable. But of course, the healing, the shielding buff, when you've got a Seraphine, when you've got a Sundered Sky,
huge.
I would love to know what the value is going to give him here, as Rahel's in trouble. No flash for a few seconds.
Oh boy, the trap's decent, but the encore follows. Oh no, Caitlyn, you don't get to leave this show too early. The walls still come on down, and they can't get a punish back. It's decent work, but Griffin gets the flash away, and that allows him to get safety. Impact's turned on up, but not much more to be found there. Kill on the AD carry. Maybe a consideration of Baron. We're certainly going to threaten it.
Great pick. And we'll see if this turns into a Nash. Remember, first move into the river is so important. It's so difficult for both these teams to face check. But it's definitely harder for Sentinels, and that Nash is already half of its HP down.
Arrow, beat drop wall. There's a TP into the unstoppable onslaught. Nu, he just about avoids the CC. Darkwing with the rocket belt to escape the decimating smash. You know what? That's fair value this time around. Equalizer comes on down, does tag quads. It's trying to see whether people were retreating down that corridor. Worth note, of course, Dragon was up. And that actually means that finally Sentinels can claim Soul Point denied the last time. But that was a little bit bold from FlyQuest, who's going right back to the scene of the crime.
Huh. I mean, they know it's going on. The problem is, Harmbach is so far away. Impact is going to finish a drink and TP. He's got no equalizer. Niveas will play a little bit of disruption. Harmbach's here on time.
Hold your breath, folks, because it's about to get stormy out here. Handback Crescent Guards, and Quad loses his head. So does the jungler. It's a leash. Oh my god, it's a leash. They just gave over the Baron. Soul Point as well, and Sentinels suddenly find themselves in a commanding position in this game. It's been such a bloodbath, so back and forth. Master's going to try and get the wave at the very least, but Darkwings gets donated that kill. 3 kills, Soul Point and Baron. You couldn't ask for more as Sentinels.
Yeah, it's a complete and utter catastrophe. Man,
I was thinking that something a little more explicit, but yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah, oh, there's a couple of words I could use for sure. Not quite broadcast friendly, I'm afraid. Gatgos looked like he was swinging for Huhi. Seemed like Huhi maybe a good old weave. Let's get a replay of what goes on here, because the key issue for FlyQuest is they split apart at some point. It is in part due to the wall, but you can see Griffin and it's the Anivia are, right? So they decide to stay in the pit. The rest of the carries just can't stay there, and Quad gets one shot by Harmbuck knockup plus the shockwave. And at that point, everyone just has to scatter to the wind.
Well, 2.5 item, very fair chins out. Definitely works an additional carry threat, it turns out. I think we've seen the Pro League of Legends to know that. And also, with all of your resists being shredded by Baron, poor old Seraphine just isn't very tanky to a 3-item Caitlyn hitting you with a headshot.
Not quite the same as last year.
No.
Nash does make you so much squishier, and that's one of those examples where it's very noticeable.
The police line do not cross in the form of some very deliciously baked goods. Catgos may be tasked with standing on them, but the shove will continue. Rumble is going to be part of that 1-4. We don't really see the 1-3-1s anymore. Too easy to punish, especially when you're looking at the double globals and things like that Pantheon ult and the Scion ult. Of Cupcakes. The arrow comes on down. Nice! Rocket belt from Darkwings. Very good that one. Value pretty strong there. The equalizer comes on down. The shove continues. Darkwings potentially in danger though. Another rocket belt this time. Shield Vault follows the encore, and shutdown goes the way of FlyQuest.
Good usage of the encore there. Just go through your teammates. If you're not in range, just try and make sure you're getting the lineup correct. And this time out, it is lined up very, very well. Sentinels, though, I mean, at the end of the day, considering how the structures looked, I don't feel like this Nash... Oh, hello, Humbug.
This gets a bit spicy. Here we go. They're in this river alone. There is Impact and Hookie not here, but they don't force any further. A couple minutes until the next dragon, so maybe looking to blow some of those summoners. Again, kind of in this window between objectives, you can sort of full send with your ults to try and claim a few things like flashes for the next big objectives. There's that initial skill shot that's dodged well by Darkwings. The problem is he now no longer has a rocket belt to do it again.
Take a look at the lineup, right? Actually, I'm not sure how intentional it was. Maybe, I mean, Sion's just big and beefy, so maybe he just felt like Gakkos was wide enough. But hits Gakkos, hits Griffin, and then connects onto Darkwings, who did hold onto his flash, and that's going to be a big deal for this dragon. See if he can make a play with it. Whether it's surviving, whether it's flashing forward, we'll have to see. But items, despite this gold lead, not in the worst state, honestly. If you're rooting for FlyQuest here, if you're looking at this game state, I'm just having the death cap. It's so much flat AD. It can make up for the overall item discrepancy, just in terms of flat ability power. Whilst Darkwings doesn't have that fully completed Void Staff. However, if he is close to it, that could be a bit problematic. I love this look though from FlyQuest. Just cheeky solo laner overload. Both have TP, look for that pick, but Impact's walking down early.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't actually. Also, if you wouldn't mind, guys, we could have a quick fly over the red side jungle because it is littered with Sentinel wards. They have managed to take complete control of FlyQuest's approach to this dragon pit. They will be spotted absolutely any way they choose to walk towards what will be sold for the side of Sentinels at this rate. Forced under their mid-tier 3 as well. This looks like a very dicey contest. The TP's coming on in, though. This could get interesting. They have got to know. Gakkos goes looking. Got a big shield courtesy of that top lane roll quest. It's immediately stunned, though, and walled as well. The books come on up, and who he says, yeah, maybe you should do some light reading.
First move belongs to Sentinels, and so much damage.
Oh, flash forward! Darkwings has got CC'd. Goes golden on the decimating flash, and Gakkos just isn't very tanky anymore. The equalizer tags across the few. The stun on top of the red carpet. A very important person experience for Cryogen, who's left with about 10% Yace in the hole. His body blocked by Griffin, but that means without their frontliner, health bar's looking low. Sentinels realistically just get soul for free.
Yeah, just having control of this area. This choke, hey.
Shockwave! Goes looking, does go down, but his ear is traded back, and now they can keep looking for a little bit more as Handbuck. He got the ability to flash on forwards, and a 3 talent strike takes the head off the Frost Queen. Cryogen needs to run away, but again, I just don't know where he's realistically running. He'll reset, but that is game surely at this point. 17 kills to 14. We've been blessed with a bloodbath, but in this first gladiatorial outing, be Sentinels that come out on top.
Yeah, we'll see if Cryogen can make a little bit of magic happen, but highly doubtful. Well, Gapghost is here too. Nivea wall, is it enough? Can hit the wave. First wave's gone. That's one tower. Maybe it's not end here. But Gapghost is
10
dead.
seconds to go. He is dead again. He'll have a zombie, can maybe clear a little bit more of a wave. I think at this point with potential, since TP's not that easy, actually they're all down. Gagos zombies about to get taken low quiet, and also a little bit here comes Griffin. One Nexus turret remaining between Sentinels and the Nexus. This gets a bit spicy. This TP could be a little deep. I agree. Out comes that trap. Very scary. They're going to try to jump on points. Doesn't get up and then back with the wall behind him. The on-call comes up forward. Is traded. GA though, burned off quickly. Rocket Bell wave is too little too late. The ballerina goes down. Oh, he's so low, not quite. Impact also left low, and you know what? We thought it was over. I made the call, you made the call, and just about they have enough wave clear. And they hold on, but barely at that. Baron's up. And Sentinels will be a known quantity heading towards that courtesy of the Hawk shot, but we go again.
I don't know, man. It should be Nash for Sentinels, but FlyQuest will not give this one over to you easily. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, press W, crystallize the wall. There we go. There is no Griffin, so instead, he just has planning permission, is what happens. And he says, I'm building. Yeah. Got the paperwork in about 60 seconds ago, actually.
That's impressive, yeah. I didn't realize quite with that quick on the planning permissions. That's quite
you
impressive.
know, like normally city workers, a little bit slow depending on what city you're in. You know, these guys. No chance. Just
maybe it helps you. You're a god. You're a literal god. You know. That does help as the Nivea. You know. I feel like if anyone was going to supersede city planning, a literal deity might have that power. But you know, who am I to judge the workings of the Freljords?
Fair. You're only a mortal man.
So they say. You know. So that was almost shade, Jemana. I can't believe that coming from you.
Nah, I would never do that. I'd never do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a little weird coming from FlyQuest. And honestly, mate, I'm struggling to see many ways out for FlyQuest. I'll get one more roll of the dice, but it's weighted against them. Baron, Infernal Soul, a Nexus turret down, Inhibitor down. This ain't looking easy.
Nope. And again, even engaging, you know, this is the problem. You don't really have true engage. And when there's no engage on either side and one team is just ahead, that team that's ahead, it's just so easy to hold your ground. And in this case, it's a Nivea, it's Orianna ball, it's Caitlyn traps, it's all of these hurdles you have to hop over. And unfortunately, FlyQuest have been fumbling and tumbling over for the last 15-20 minutes. Quad, oh my god!
Ooh, gets healed, he's alright, he's got Cryogen there to keep him topped up. Does have that surround sound available. Has to flash though, as there was the threat of the shockwave. Stays alive, but the support now down, the flash and the heal. A little bit scary, that.
It's a good hold, all things considered.
It is.
Griffin needs to just check himself.
Arrow.
Not go too hard. If you can get the egg, it feels good. Just leave it at that.
Equalizer comes on down and just prevents the follow-up too easily. They can't do it. Impact just says no. And the zone control continues to be so immense, so obnoxious. They can't push for the full inhibitor, though. And Sentinels, you know what? I think they're going to be a little bit worried. They got a bit stymied there. Can't do much more than break down the turret, but that's the entirety of their Baron wins.
Yeah, that's a fantastic hold from FlyQuest, but it needs to yield fruit now. 90 seconds away from this Elder Dragon. It's all well and good doing this part of the job. That was kind of the easy part. The hard part's going to be actually having to interact with the enemy team again in a minute. And how they do that without having Cryo. I mean, I'm supposed to be an analyst, but I'm not a magic maker. I'm no magician. I don't work miracles.
I somehow don't believe that, you know? Come on, Adrian.
Yeah.
I need some copium. I need a good dose. What are we doing as FlyQuest? Like, if you were FlyQuest and you were piloting, I don't know, this Pantheon, you're the Fed member, what on earth do you even think to do to find some way back?
I mean, if it's solo queue, I'm thinking about hitting FF. Not because I'm negative, just because it would take a monumental...
Got better things to do with your time.
Yeah, it would take a monumental muck-up there from Sentinels. And they've shown so much discipline with this lead. since they've had it whole and proper, obviously there was the that one
The
earlier
mid-game was a bit
incident we
more
won't talk about.
competitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But last 10 minutes or so has been a lot better.
Yeah, there's the crystallized +8 Caitlyn headshot. There's a lot of work there to that turret, and again, this Caitlyn with the Infernal Sword and all these items is just hitting some of these relatively squishy members for quite a lot. There's the Zonyas and the Mikhails. A little bit of a double dash, has to flash as well. The wall comes on down, and that prevents the follow-up. The pick CC is solid from FlyQuest, but there just isn't enough of it to get through all of this zone control, all of the Mikhails and Zonyas, and just the luxury items that makes things so tricky here at the 34-minute mark. Elder, still a minute and a half away. Actually, it's not a minute and a half away. That's Baron I'm looking at the time. And the Elder Dragon as well as Bully spawn. That makes much more sense. So we'll be fighting for mid lane priority. The Sentinels are in the river first.
FlyQuest need to see if they can somehow drop mid-wave now that there's no supers up and see if they can enter through. Well, I think it's a little bit easier to walk into, but Mastery just got chunked. Gakko's just got his ult stopped. They rely on the healing, so Sentinels are going to just try and play on the fact that they have that health advantage and try and hit the dragon now.
Got ult flash, maybe he can find a way in. The fight's still going well. Helen right hand back on that dragon. They're trying to zone control off their TP back in the edge of the hole. Takes a third of quad health. That's so frustrating. Gakos on this zone isn't that tanky. Gets a shield that means very little. The arrows back off. Call down the Grand Starfall. Helm's not taken. Quad's getting immediately stopped by that trap. That trap is big. The ash falls. In goes Quad. Gets one, but Sonyan on the other. There's an egg on the floor, but it's just not getting scrambled. They've run out of damage, run out of way to deal with the zone control, and run out of lives. You've got a zombie, but it means so very little in the grand scheme of things. Sentinels have done what they needed to. They pull FlyQuest out of the base to contest the Elder, and they lose the fight that ensues.
Fantastic team effort from Sentinels. They're going to take game one. Somewhat hard fought for, but it feels like FlyQuest are running into a wall, not just metaphorically, but very much physically. That Nivea pick had so much value in the end. 39 kills.
Yeah, it was a bloody
not a bad game.
And you know what? We came into this series going, actually, who on earth do we favor here? Because the LCS form has not been the EWC qualifier form. Both of these teams are creative, but they're also volatile. They live and breathe off their kind of aggressive, we all go in as one kind of styles of play, the likes of Handback and Griffin with their kind of talismanic styles of play where they're very, very aggressive, very, very front foot forward styles of wanting to play the jungle role in general, leads us to these very bloody games, but it also makes it an absolute nightmare to work out who's coming out on top, and you can sort of see it there. It was a pretty back and forth affair over the early stages of the game, and then it all started to fall apart in favor of Sentinels.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just around that 25-minute mark after the first Nash, you know, kind of dissipated and Sentinels were left a little bit wanting, that they kind of just locked in, and FlyQuest couldn't really find these picks that they needed to. It got to a point where it was just very, very apparent. These 5v5s, if you don't have prio, you're not going to win, and it felt like they either never really figured that out, or they were simply too far behind to ever secure prio, and Sentinels always got those conditions and made it very, very difficult for them to play.
It did, and then you look at like those damage numbers from Rahul. Like, yes, of course, he's hitting this certain amount of HP on a Pantheon, but there's a Scion in front of him. That's always going to inflate numbers. But part of that as well was how on earth did FlyQuest, after the mid-game woes, find a way to threaten the Caitlyn? There was always an Anivia wall, always an ult from that from the Anivia, or an equalizer, or a shockwave, or something else. Very, very difficult to manage. A fun game one there. Adrian, your last thoughts before we cut to a break?
I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to 5. I think this is very much a series that is going to deliver.
Yes. Well, to deliver that, we are going to have to cut to a quick break. This is your opportunity to get some water, some popcorn, and get your butts back in those seats, as Captain Flowers would say, because I'm hoping for at least 4 more of these bangers. We will see you after that, but don't go anywhere otherwise.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, move. The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Welcome back. Pit stop is over and we're back on the road. The road to EWC. And as it stands in this particular race, it is looking like we are seeing Sentinels just about edging ahead of FlyQuest despite a very competitive game one. Later on, Adrian, it just got a little bit hard to overcome all of the zone control, all of the Mikhails and the Zonyas and everything else, and the pick CCs just stopped being quite so efficient.
Yeah, you know, they needed to be very particular, FlyQuest, with their engage and their methods of pick, and unfortunately, they just weren't. And as we've kind of, I don't know, we've gone around in circles almost, it felt like, that entire game was a game about having first move, all right? Being the first one in the river, and if you were the first one in the river, the fight looked significantly better for you, and one of the few times that FlyQuest had it was this, and they just ended up leashing the Nash, right? Allow themselves to get split up by that Anivia inside of the pit, and from that point onwards, the game, it just felt like was a slow bleed in favor of Sentinels, simply because FlyQuest could no longer find any favorable fights for themselves.
Yeah, that one moment where they caught off Rahel in the mid lane, we went, maybe we can turn that into Baron and the game win from there, and they still get absolutely slaughtered the Baron, give up Baron, give up the fight, give up Soul Point, and from that point, it just felt like Sentinels finally had a foothold in the game that FlyQuest just ran out of opportunities to overcome. They did do a decent job of stalling. I'll give credit to them, actually. The game did go on a lot longer than I thought it would. They ended up going towards this Elder fight, but really, all it did was pull FlyQuest out of their nice bunker and force Sentinels, or force FlyQuest to fight Sentinels on the open ground, where they ended up getting blasted in this final team fight, as we saw.
Yeah, exactly. Neutral ground, not so good, but the best place that FlyQuest could look to fight. Uneven footing. Yeah, just wrap it up and go next, man. You know,
You said as much. There was a certain conversation where I was like, I think I might just be hitting the FF button in Soul Link. You're like, eventually just get to the point where it becomes very
It is just one of those things where sometimes you can tell a game just isn't going to go the way that a team needs it to. You're just truly in a bit of a headlock, a true checkmate, and that was one of those games where, again, Huhi, I have to give him so much credit, right? We can talk about Rahel dishing out the damage, we can talk about, you know, a couple of those bigger moment shockwaves, though Darkwings was maybe one of the few underperformers in that game holistically. Huhi's work with the walls and just the Anivia ults were crucial in making things super uncomfortable for FlyQuest.
You know what?
Credit has to be given to him.
Yeah, he gets his pilot's license. He's allowed to fly Bird Airlines. Like that was good Anivia play. Actually, very good in the early lanes. Yeah, that's where I was going with that. I actually did manage to make it work with the Caitlyn.
Dude,
if you've got that kind of ability to pull that, check it out, it's good. What have I got? What am I missing?
Freylord flights, man.
I take it back, Adrian. You're right. Freljord flights. That's
Come on, bro.
You're right. I should have got that. I should have known. I should be able to read your mind. And I didn't do that, which, you know, clearly a failure as a play-by-play caster. I'm gonna read your mind now, though, and I think you want to talk about how FlyQuest can win game 2. Is that or fried chicken? Is that or Morley's?
It is Morley's, yeah. I miss Morley's. You're not even wrong. That wasn't a thing, by the way, guys. Like I love my local chicken shop is awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, I do feel as though FlyQuest are gonna need to just lean on themselves a bit to go towards those creative picks. I think that is where they shine the most. I think that's when they look the most, you know, impressive. Griffin, give him things like the Shen, give him things like the Mundo if the angles are good for it, right? Obviously yesterday we had the Nasus pick. I tried to get it out of him. Also, like, our interview unfortunately ended up being a little bit more abrupt than we would have liked, but I was trying to say, like, hey, what kind of picks do you think are undervalued right now? Like, you don't have to necessarily be practicing them or wanting to play them. And then Think Card just like jumped on the PC from behind, just like snapped on it, and made sure that, you know, Griffin didn't give away too much, because bundle of joy, that kid. And so, not to reveal any secrets,
his joy to compete and just play League of Legends is so infectious. So cool to see someone like him. And again, this is a really fun series in the fact we've got some incredible veterans in the likes of Impact, right, he's been playing for One World in 2013. That's like, what, 13, 14 years ago, depending on how you count things. Was playing back in 2012 on things like Zenit. Was it Zenit Storm he was playing on back in the day? Of course, as it stands, I hear the dulcet tones of Draft. There's our fearless bands right at the top. And we can see some of these bands beginning to come on through.
Yeah, nothing likely to be too out of the ordinary here. We'll get some confirmation visually, because I can hear the bands, and I'm hoping that also means you guys can too. But I heard the Ambessequer, Nocturne, Skarner as well. Skarner is there visually, and that was definitely Ezreal.
Okay.
They're coming through. It's a little bit delayed.
Okay. That's what it is. That's what it is. I appreciate the fact that we know League well enough that we can figure out the band quotes to say which champions went out, which probably says quite a lot about us as people, really. But there we are.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully this issue will be resolved with haste. But until then, we are just waiting for those next couple of bands to come through from FlyQuest. Again, points of note, the things that really kind of surprised me about what was left up, specifically the Rise, I thought was quite surprising, to just be blunt, right? Bard was something that was banned away on that third slot by Sentinels, so curious about whether or not it's something that is going to hold a lot of priority. With these two bans on both sides, I would expect Karma to also be a very high prio. Has always been something that FlyQuest prioritized earlier in the year than everyone else, before everyone picked up on it. And with that Jarvan ban, it does mean, hey, it will be one or the other left up and available. And if I'm Sentinels, I'm thinking to myself, well, Cryo is a bit of a monster on the Karma. But his Bard performance yesterday was fantastic. Maybe you just leave it up and you trade the two, and you just kind of accept that, hey, both these supports will be in the game, and that is the case. Sentinels are going to ban away this window. And this will really show a lot of character out of FlyQuest, because for me, Cryogen probably has had the best Karma, individual game Karma performance in the league. That said, with the Varus up, when the Varus is up, you take it. So we'll see how Masu or potentially Gutkos ends up piloting that one. But then you look over to the other side, all the cards, you're just out on the table. You're like playing 52 card pickup, and you're hoping you pick up the best card you can. Rise, Bard being hovered, expect that one to be locked in, because, hey, Cryogen, if he goes towards the Karma, 2 mobile champions into the Bard, try and play off that Tempered Fate pick.
Well, the Rise was a bit of a surprise to go through that last draft entirely unpicked, unbanned. This time around, it slammed very early for Sentinels. They pair that with the Bard. Double, very roamable champions, shall we say, between the Realm Warp and the Magical Journey. You can turn up anywhere, anyhow, it feels like, with multiple different champions. It can get quite scary. It does, however, leave open Cryogen's Karma. You've just been singing its praises. Varus Karma is about as much shove and early poke as you can get in bot lane. It is pretty damn obnoxious. What do we also want to lock in here? Either, I imagine, something like a control mage mid or an early skirmisher jungle. You could do something like Varus, also possible, or match mid, I agree. Depends how creative Griffin wants to be.
Yeah, I think you just match mid. Quad is a phenomenal Cassio player. Oftentimes in the second rotation, if he's not locked in his mid laner, you will see teams just respect ban this Cassio, even if the matchup might not even necessarily be that good. But into Rise, we know it can be very, very, very oppressive early on. Darkwings, however, like we've said, no slouch on the control mages, so likely have a thing or two to say in this matchup regardless. But an AD from Rahel looks like it'll be the Jhin, so a little less interactive, wants to play at range, and honestly makes sense if you're potentially going to be into a Varus Karma lane. Do what you can to just offer up some of that utility yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, Jhin has always been something of, I don't want to say a full counter, but at least a soft answer to the Jhin. You can kind of do roughly what he does. You tend to be able to farm relatively safely. You can trade out with some of your utility and burst. And you maybe go down 5, 10 CS, but you don't necessarily lose as hard as a lot of other AD carries have done historically to the Varus. Why we've seen a lot of this match. If you go look up those stats, you'll see the champion that's most played into Varus of late. It's been the Jhin, guys. And it's obviously a very good pairing with the Bard, both because you can both pick very well, and also because Jhin is quite happy to be left alone while Bard goes on his little merry jaunts and magical journeys to other parts of the map. The bans and focus towards jungle, though, will continue. Shen is taken off the board. Gwen strictly can be a jungle flex, so it's been a hot minute since someone's taken the Gwungle out for a spin. Potentially been a good answer top as well if Gatgos was debating something tanky, I suppose.
Yeah, it says to me maybe they're looking at Likely an Ornn or a Cassante. I would like to see the Ornn just because they are lacking a little bit of engage, right? Like some true kind of non-committal engage for themselves. They do have the chains of corruption from this Varus, but not really often enough to roll it into a whole team fight unless the other team themselves commit. Neferi also, just so much respect to Griffin and some of the picks that he is willing to go out of his way to play.
Nasus is still up though, that's all I'm saying. The Nasus is still up.
I don't want to say it. One of the few things that Griffin did reveal to us in terms of what he's kind of angles he's happy to pick the Nasus in is one where there's a lot of wither value. And I don't necessarily see this game as one where there is a whole bunch of it.
I agree.
There's no big war attacker. There's no, there's a lot of CC. Very easy to land CC if you're a Nasus as well. You're just kind of walking in a straight line. So I don't expect it to come out here. Though you never know. Maybe he's feeling a little bit weird. Harmbach, however, I don't know if you get to call this hover weird. This
oh yeah, there we go.
Will come through. And now Griffin's got a couple of options. You could go towards something like a Poppy, right? Obviously, 1-to-1 of Lee Sin, always historically been a very good jungle matchup, just 1-to-1. The scale, you both kind of scale perpendicularly against each other in terms of the utility that you provide, so there's no real worry about getting outscaled. The early skirmishing is good, but also something like a Wukong could also work out quite well in terms of just, hey, you know what? We kind of want to stand our ground. We don't want to go in too crazy, but hey, if we've got the angles, that Cyclone can really help us set up for those plays. And with the Cassante locked in, they're needing at least one form of engage if they want to have the agency to make fights happen.
I mean, the other obvious meta choice would be Vi, I guess, here as well. Point and click can be, but you don't necessarily have the most follow-up. I mean, Varus can sort of do it. I agree. Into the bar can be a little bit there, as I choke a little bit there, but that'll not be something too spicy in terms of the foretelling of the future. The Sejuani's the choice. You've got a little bit of synergy here with the Cassante if you want to play through that, but realistically, you're looking to pair with that Varus and try and chain link CC onto someone. My only issue here, Jamada, is the fact that this just becomes a very easy Mikhail's buy, and then suddenly these CC chains, this pick CC, becomes relatively limited.
It does. It's not gonna be that. Okay,
the Darkwing special
answer. Looking forward to this, and yeah, like you say, like it's kind of half a Darkwing special, but at the same time, into Cassante, this is something that has been getting picked very sparingly in terms of the direct answer into him, just because it's very hard for Cassante to pressure, good fundamental laning Smolder players, and I'm weirdly small tangent before we wrap around into the game. I want to know how Smolder looks with Deathfire Touch back in the game, because I would imagine that's a keystone that is probably incredibly good on him.
So I hear there is an interaction. I don't quite know how one gets to it, but basically with his Super Scorcher Breath, he can get 5 stacks of Black Cleaver with 1 auto.
Ooh. That sounds spicy.
I think that's the way it is. I'd have to go look this up. So I think it was on Yankos stream or something. Someone was basically saying, hey, here's a clip of some very silly interactions right now with Smolder and Deathfire Touch. So the answer is yes, quite busted. Of course, once upon a time, there was a discussion that a few analysts are having back in, I want to say, Season 6, with Deathfire Touch was first in the game, and Jhin was incredibly busted with that particular rune, to the extent where there's a discussion about whether Jhin could ever be truly balanced. They had to remove it, partly because he was so damn strong with that. It could be quite exciting to see as we go. We're not there yet. That'll be a future consideration, but as it stands, there's Impact on a fairy-looking skin. He's got a load of Christmas wings and lights to go with, which feels a little inappropriate considering we're edging towards summer. But you know what, Impact? I appreciate the festivity regardless.
Hey man, it's winter soon in the Southern Hemisphere. Don't forget, it's 2 sides to the world. Yeah,
I hear you. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
remind me.
Keep that in mind.
What does the N in NA stand for?
North.
Yeah, and so when is winter in the north part of the world?
At the end of the year. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, you're seeing the complexity in this issue, right? Just double checking.
All right, League of Legends. Jungler's both starting on top side, so we'll see. I think for Harmbach, I could very much envision him. There's no wards on either Raptor camp, and he knows. All right, I'm just gonna say this is probably a 3 camp into an invade from Harmbach. He's got Prio bot. Early Prio can go in Darkwings' favor. It's all about the level 1 in terms of how that goes. Level 2 can look a little bit rougher, and yeah, it seems like he hit level 2 first. So he's gonna have Prio. It's on the chickens. I don't know. I'm sniffing an invade on the red buff. I think he crosses over.
Keep our eyes on it. They've got the early prior, right? The Jim Bard is very obnoxious. T1 were playing that a little bit. People were memeing them for picking it in a Game 5 World Finals, and the next year they were smashing with it. So many people realize what this thing can do. It's pretty scary.
Man, I'm surprised he's not doing it. Darkwings is just holding prio. He's just pushing the entire wave in. He would have first move from Bard, but hey, you know what? Don't need to flip the game super early. I can respect the non-volatile plays too. As
I can't.
They'll both just go on their full clears.
Go on. You've lost my respect, Handback. You're on it. You're on your Lee Sin. Your Lee Sin. What is this? Come on. Because I clearly know everything about the game, and I'm a pro League of Legends Lee Sin knower, you know?
True. But this matchup up here, this will be one. This is very, very miserable for Gapkos. Impact. He is going to be more than 10 stacks a second if he is good at this champion. Is just how this matchup
is he leave? Is he leave?
Yeah, like
he's the record to beat. But so far, Impact doing pretty well at that point. He's gotten the early pokes, being obnoxious. It as you noted, one of those matchups that was a kind of thing into Cassante for a little while.
Yeah, I want to say
questions that was always asked, can he do this?
Flandre is one of the big guys that trying to push this lane as a consistent answer. Of course, flexibility
like
of
the Rek'Sai, which we saw at Worlds as well. Flandre was the only one who could do it consistently. But yes, we've definitely seen some people try to deal with it across the years. So far, so good. It's being very annoying.
Yeah, he's not even at the just at the second cannon minion. He is already at 25 stacks pretty much once this wave dies. So he's going to be stacking quick, is the bottom line here in this lane. Much quicker than a bot lane Smolder typically would. And that's really what we want to keep our eyes on, those breakpoints up there. And we focus on the Smolder, because not much else is going on the rest of the map.
No.
There was no Scuttle contest. There was no funkiness. And this is a part of some of the trading patterns that just make it really frustrating for Gapkos to play. Though Impact does get hit there by the Q. Gapkos can't really stand inside the wave, because if he stands in the wave, then Impact Qs him. It pushes the wave out for Impact a little bit. He gets a stack, and then if low minions are nearby, not only does he get to just blast hit them, but he gets to stack them. So it is just lose, lose, lose. You get the flap, flap, flap. Pretty sure it's 3, right? Is
away.
Flap, flap, flap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's flap, 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 yeah.
Get to do that away from, you know, Pathmaker, from a Q3. So just the way that this lane interacts is pretty horrendous for the Cassante, and just gonna have to just sit there, farm up, go even, not fall behind, and just accept that, hey, Impact is gonna get to farm him for a bit.
Bot lane has gone quite even. You've drafted your Varus, your Karma, and so far it's been muchness so far. Quad's doing pretty well in the mid lane, up a little bit of CS here early on. Again, we talked about it, but Quad's Cassiopeia is pretty damn legendary.
They don't know about this blue ward. Armbuck is on it. They still want this lane gank. Not gonna find it.
Nice idea, doesn't quite work. He's feeling like a little low with the turnaround damage. A little obnoxious. He does have a couple healing shrines just behind him in the lane, though, I think. So shouldn't be under too much duress here. That Comet poke briefly onto Rahel, top side. Impact potentially in a spot of bother, but just gets the flap away, gets another fleet footwork stack. He's got triple tonic, he's got Swifty boots, so you don't even get the slows from the Q stacking properly anymore. It just gets increasingly annoying. And I'm also going to put this out there. I don't know how easy it's going to be for Griffin to get up there on a regular basis and punish.
Oh, mate, it's Armageddon over Crab. Look at the river.
You're so right. Here we go. Right.
Armbuck's here. Quad's got the first move. But the real first move is actually going to end up coming from Sentinels. Hey, because Cryogen actually decided to base after that wave push.
Oh, boy.
And now Masu is isolated.
Oh, no.
Wow.
He's stunned into the wall, flashing on all Darkwing. Doesn't get the initial Q because the dragon jump back happens. And
oh my god.
He can't get it because there's a shield for Griffin. The petrifying gaze are quite at him. In goes Handback. He's not going to get caught by the miasma. The route out on the Griffin, though. And the pig is being turned into ribs. Barbecue style. Masu just about escaped, but he's the only one. And ends up being the 1-for-1. That was Masu getting away with murder. The problem is they're still going to lose this dragon. And probably the Scuttle Crab to boot.
Yeah, you know, I guess this dragon's here, so like, even though we weren't here for it, we'll go ahead and take it anyway. Goes over to Sentinels and just ends up being a hands check. Masu not connected with the rest of his team. Sentinels, good heads-up play to use the Realm Warp to try and catch him out, but between the Dragon and Griffin making it there, last-second shield, all good, but then these flashes forward from Quad, it's just too much. I mean, even if, right, like, even if Griffin connects on the W2 here, what does it achieve? Is really the question that I'm sure he'll be asking himself. Looking back on that play, as now
you said
come back out
I
there
completely
replay.
agree. It's like a little bit much.
Yeah. Hey, you know, disaster in the bot lane. At least the top lane's good. Actually, Impact is almost at 10 stacks a minute already.
Oh boy. Remind me what the break point is on Smolder, just to know, so we can kind of kick another toes. 225.
So 225 is obviously the big one. 125 is also quite nice, just for just wave clearing a little bit more non-interactively, shall we say. Hambak can't quite get the Rune Prison. Griffin shows face to ensure that his mid laner is okay. So I like these looks from Sentinels. FlyQuest kind of handed that last play on a bit of a platter. Through virtue of Masu being left a bit disconnected from the rest of his team, and also, frankly, also a heads-up play at the same time.
Yeah, good round.
That's it, really. That's all that's in this game so far. Neither jungler's on the top side for those grubs that just spawned up, so maybe it's a play down on the bottom side of the map as Gakkos.
The W. Potentially put him in a tricky spot. I'm going to quickly put up the XP here as well. Have a look at this one, and what a surprise, the top laners are leading that chart. Is still running Impact just a touch.
I think you can really tell how little Impact wants to even engage in shenaniganery, because in this weird world, there was an angle where Impact could have ran that guy down, I think. Even with a chain vest, you just play it real slow. But again, just doesn't want to press buttons, right? Doesn't want to waste resources, just wants to stay in the lane. His TP's coming up soon as well, so understand, hey, as long as there's no crazy trade, no chance of Sejuani coming to interactive lane a little bit too heavily, you get to just play at range. Good Swifty purchase as well early on.
Yeah.
The movement speed difference is very, very noticeable. And now Hambak is trying to leverage the fact that his top laner has a bit of priority, whilst Griffin is trying to catch Darkwings off on the rotation.
Thinking about now to assault forward there. We'll throw out the flail. There's the Rune Prison and the speed of rate. Doesn't quite get that Arctic Assault over the wall from Boulevard. But Quad's here as well. And this Glacier Prison, the miasma, means that this poor Lee Sin's in danger, but just kicks the Sejuani through the Cassiopeia. And the pig and the snake have a bit of an interesting experience. Unfortunately, Karma comes on up, hits a soul flare, and that makes it tricky. All out comes on force, and Darkwings is dragged into the loving arms of the Sejuani, and Griffin makes him another.
Sunday delivery from Gakkos. Catches out Darkwings, pulls him across the wall. Was wondering if that was going to look good for Fly, just because Huki had first move, but in the end, it's Sentinels that kind of run out of damage in the exchange. Let's get a look at it again.
Because it now starts with Darkwings kind of getting run out, and then I thought, you know what, maybe Griffin's gone too far, and didn't end up being the case.
Aftershock actually tanks up a lot of damage here. The kickback also, alongside the stun, onto Quad, but then, you know, the classic, my mind's telling me no. Hambak politely or aggressively, I guess, just obliges to his inner urges to take the cue.
Look, the diagnosis, guys, from Dr. Jamada here is Lee syndrome, and it's a fairly severe case there. That was a bit far. Trojan is potentially in danger here. Walks across the captive audience and Hambak. This time around, his body is telling him, oh yeah. That one feels really good. The Tempered Fate is going to keep Mastery trapped on this time. Does have the flash.
Wow.
Uses it well. Huki times the Q well enough, but not well enough in terms of getting the stun. Still the summon is down. Flashes for the Q! And Hambak, yeah, he's feeling it now. Griffin potentially in a spot more bothered. The aftershock will keep him safe. Bot lane, though, dead. And some of those blushes from the topside play are immediately undone. Griffin, I don't think you can fight for these Croaks.
It's also eclipsed Lee Sin, by the way. I don't know. A little bit more solo queue centric, but very, very good Eclipse user, obviously, Lee Sin. And in a game like this, I mean, hey, you know, 3 kills already now, snowballing, it's gonna feel good. Impact actually got his flap interrupted, but will not get knocked back.
Dropped a little bit of CS as well. He was on a bit of CS, but whatever happened over the last few moments, kind of dropped it a bit. But Masu, reminder, has no flash. Does dodge that initial cosmic binding. The problem is Hambak's just sitting there and autoing him, and he'll get another 4-kill. Lee Sin on the Eclipse build is snowballing just fine. The moment the diagnosis comes on through, the cure is straight murder. That's how you cure Lee syndrome.
Will they murder him for wanting to start this dragon? FlyQuest. That is the that is the next question. Remember, Masu is on his way out from base. Is this just a thank you kindly leash? This will be ours, gentlemen.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Don't stick around. It's frisky. Doesn't have the karma behind him. He really wants to try and think about a flash on him. He really wants to look for the steal. 1500. Claims your prison. Handbags out. Goes back in. Kicks the dragon. Nicely done. Kick back on him. The tempered fate now catches two. And the curse get caught. Shooting fish in a golden barrel. Kick onto one. Flash out. And handbag maybe goes a little too deep that time around. They might look for a bit more. The realm want to follow. Flash in the cosmic binding goes one in Griffin. Waiting on the Arctic assault. Will not be allowed to get to it. And a double kill goes the way of Riyadh.
I mean, good stuff from Sentinels all across the board. Yeah, I mean, hell. Even Hambach, even though he died, only one to go down, wins the smite fight. Gets a lot of damage out as well. But what a fantastic fight yet again from Sentinels. They are just mechanically checking FlyQuest at every juncture that they can. Teleport here, looking for impact. That's quad. Impact has not noticed. Gakkos is falling low.
Trying to get the trade here. Out comes that all
out
onto the pass. Yes, man, he's out of mana. As the petrifying gaze will make sure that the dragon turns to stone. Nice TP ganking. Impact caught a little unawares.
Yeah. So is quad, maybe.
Just about dodges, he's fine.
Happy to play it out. Gakkos is going to teleport to the bot side of the map. Impact will likely match him in about 10 seconds' time. But all in all, it's just gold and a little bit of a lane assignment swap up in the end. Let's take a look at this fight because I believe I saw the dragon at 11 HP. Yeah, 11 HP is what it ends up at. Technically, that Tempered Fate stopped Griffin from knocking up quad, but it's okay. Damage is still already done. And it locks them in place to confirm that they will both die. Though Griffin does slip away for a little bit longer than perhaps anticipated.
Check in the goal for this game as well. It has been quite a roller coaster. FlyQuest had a moment or two. It's back in Sentinel's favor again, but only by about 1,000 or so gold just underneath it. So very much playable still for FlyQuest at the moment, I say that. Of course, ends up face checking a couple potentially quite scary members here.
As they do, Hambach needs to be a little bit careful. There's a convergence around this red buff. They will just let it go in the end. Griffin, he doesn't have smite.
The little rats.
Yes.
Doesn't quite get the big one, but I appreciate the grenade bounce there.
Just putting as much pressure as they can on the enemy camps and kind of smaller and finer details you'd like to see when a team has a lead. Willing to scuffle over any and all resources. Has a quick stack check in 170 before 15 minutes.
That's really good going.
I think in 5 minutes this guy is at 225 pretty comfortably, actually.
Yeah, he's going to be there at sole point for it, I think, which is going to be an alarming breakpoint. And again, here comes the magical journey. We'll hold off on the snacking competition. Handback's here as well, because of course he is. The mid-jungle, jungle support rather, have been quite obnoxious. Good chunk there onto the Cassante. Don't want a full dive under turrets. That might be a little bit of a mistake with things like all out. But Impact now been given a lot more license to keep up this pressure. Tempered Fate turns the turret off. And now Gakkos in danger. Mother shells Impact, and Handback will hit him with a key.
I mean, Gakkos is always going to die because the Dragon's Rage kick CC is going to just allow him to get stunned up and followed up on. But speaking of being dove, Darkwings could be a slow roast victim. Seems like he won't be. But real cheeky from Gakkos. He tried to dash into the Tempered Fate on that bottom side dive. Couldn't find it, and now Sentinels continues to take control.
Nice cleanse.
Very good cleanse.
All right, Captain Jack, I see you found a new team under the guise of Kuki there. Very good stuff. The old Korean greats that one. Bot side, Impact gets that turret. Will be first turret of the game, and that helps accelerate Impact into a very happy point in this game. Be looking to get towards what I imagine will be the Shojin first. Has generally been Smolder's item of choice these days. Stacks him very well, gives him some HP. Just largely stats he likes.
He's got to be selling so much gold, actually, no? Like, components.
It was Phajin Shojin.
2k gold. And then he will go towards that Black Cleaver second, it looks like. Just to try and cut through frontliners with a little bit more efficacy. Could be a Triforce, I suppose. low likelihood, I
30
feel.
seconds on Dragon, by the way. There's a Q. I don't think the mind is telling him yes, so he'll hold off on the body's urges this time around.
I'd say Sentinels might feel obligated to cover impact there, but they've got the wards where they need them. Gakkos fall out.
There's a little bit of a jump scare. Survival horror suddenly for Impact, who face checks at the Q3, and Impact is a dead dragon. Nicely done from the Cassante.
Flash came up on the frame he died. So good look there from Gakkos, and all of a sudden FlyQuest, this is huge. They can take mid prio, they've got bot prio. They can connect in the river and feel real good about this. Impact. Hello.
Miasma, Glacial Prison just wide. The Tempered Fate locks down one, but not enough.
God.
Petrifying Gaystorm comes on down, and Quad unleashes a few more of those Twin Fangs. Q lands, I don't think we take that forwards, and that between the two AD carries' death will likely completely annihilate any chance of Sentinels looking at a third dragon. FlyQuest find their way back into the game in stylish fashion.
Yeah, good jab to the chin. Sentinels a little bit shaky there after Impact finds himself solo killed in the bottom side. Not paying enough respect on that mid wave. They get punished for it. I mean, Humbug even dodges out on the Chains of Corruption by Splash Miasma of all things. That really gets things going. Quad is able to get the rundown on Rahel. Follows through on Huhi, but doesn't quite have the range to finish him off. The rest of Fly are able to just about capitalize. Chunk out that mid tower just a bit more. And I mean, the true ramification of that was not only do Sentinels not get that third dragon, Impact, he probably would have stacked those next two waves and just been at 2-2-5 in that fight, right? So, real nice pick by Gakkos. He's the real architect of that little sequence there. Just waiting around in that small fog, that small pocket of fog. Because again, so much comfort Impact had from some of those deep wards in knowing where, you know, through the art of deduction, where the rest of FlyQuest would be. Didn't count on Gakkos being in that tri-bush.
And, you know, worth giving some credit over to Gakkos as well. Some criticisms leveraged and levied at his tank play. One on the Scion, to do a decent job on that. Scion the last game wasn't quite enough as the game went on, but I still think the level of play was pretty solid. Got that solo kill onto Impact Rumble. Now onto this Cassante. Been pretty good at managing this Smolder in the lane, at least managing to get one or two bits back. Again, still not going to stop the fact that Impact has been scaling up a storm, so the two deaths, a little bit of a blemish on the record, don't get me wrong, but the overall point of the Smolder has not been dissuaded. Griffin potentially in danger here. Let me first copy that.
Really
not
want
that
this
high
tower.
with the turret. They don't have the wave, it just doesn't die.
Fourth shot tanked up by the resists. Oh, Griffin the party's here, mate. Time to go. That buff is no longer yours.
Gakkos behind.
Impact is fine as long as he passes up. It's Humbug who's...
Safeguard. Gets Glacial Prison and goes down the magical journey, brings Gakkos through. Maybe he's going for a little bit more, but again, he's only so tanky in that all-out bomb and goes down. So 1-for-1 right up, overcomes Quad, and he's a real menace. Venomous indeed is that Serpent. There ain't no anti-venom in the world to save your bot laner. Support down there. Griffin though, face checking Darkwings, but now Darkwings is left in a 1v3. He has to run away, gets stunned up by that permafrost. The root comes on through after, but the curtains get called, and they might be forced to take an early bow on this play. Darkwings threatening Cryogen. The play gets a little split. This is getting messy as Quad keeps throwing out more damage. The Twin Fangs come on down. Impact is here. Flash out over the wall. To retreat. Flash over from Darkwings, but there's a petrifying gaze. Well, they go 1-for-1, but it's still flipping messy. All right, Darkwings, maybe, just maybe, a touch far.
Psychotic, man. I don't know what else to say. Just...
There's a Lee Sin in the game, and clearly Lee Syndrome is contagious.
Yeah, evidently. I feel like the F and Q keys are quite far away from each other. All right, let's... So Gakkos, this was that fight. Finds his way onto Hardmark. It's great. The Stand United. What's Stand United? What's the double called? Safeguard. Yes. Can't get him to safety. They're able to lock him down from the Sejuani CC. Same thing ends up happening to Huhi, and it's all about this extended, right? It's all this poke damage. Protoplasm healing comes through for Griffin. He's able to lock down Darkwings only temporarily. And once the curtain call opens up, things get a little bit awkward because you're starting to think, well, what about the burn damage? What about the execution from Impact? Never ends up coming through in this Miasma again. More Twin Fangs, more of those noxious blasts, and then it's just here. I like. If you're gonna do it, you know, like just quick start, step back. You know, like you know where Quad is. You know he's still got ult. Like you can't expect him to not press the button in that situation. Just a mad
overbold there. Yeah, I agree. Either way, now find Sentinels with a minor gold lead, but it is very competitive again in this mid game. We are 19 kills in 22 minutes. Not quite the 2-kill minute mark that we had last game around, but it ain't far off, it must be said. And we came into this series thinking it would be a back-and-forth affair, very bloody affair, the creativity on full display in terms of the draft and the aggressiveness on show. And you know what? We've seen the Lee Sin game from Handback where he gets to be a psycho. We've seen it's a FlyQuest here as well. Despite Griffin being on the Sejuani, he's still being very willing to lead the charge. Speaking of, there's the place for prison. Can't quite land it. A change of direction just wide. It's a path maker. Darkwing's forced to run away, but he's got himself a phase rush and should be out okay. Dragon 20 seconds. We'll be fighting over that one again. Worth noting as well, Impact has got his stacks. Can begin to execute.
Knock back, combo, flash.
They're going to try and threaten him for sure. He does have to force that flash. Into the river we look again. Huki, Darkwing's there. Fly going to try and force their way in. Gakos. On the footwork, trying to land that flail. Doesn't quite get it. Impact throws out Mom, but it's kind of off to the PTA rather than this fight. A little bit of CC. Gakos getting chunked, and Darkwings is also beginning to do a fair amount of damage. Look, Sentinels, the front line, a little bit limited, but the damage, the chip, very strong from this squad.
This kind of wide semicircle formation from Sentinels, trying to deny entry into the river whilst defending that tier 1. They just chip away at these health bars of FlyQuest, and now they want to try and reconnect through the bottom side with these TPs, but the Dragon's already at 3k HP. Griffin has to win the snipe fight.
He does, in they go. The Pathmaker trying to get the pull on the Darkwing, the Permafoot. Dragon is taken by a Jin bullet. That feels remarkably appropriate as Quad goes on the killing spree, cleanse off on the Glacial Prison. Kill inside, it's Handback. Finds a wonderful execute there, the resonating strike, and you're out.
Real good pick. Handback is on fire. Finding those small sideline carries, not doing their best. Impact.
Oh boy, Impact? What are we doing? Look at the miasma, he's down. The Dragon goes into the Cassante, and he has just not been respecting this Cassante as well as I'd like him to. It is the shutdown, the guts get called, trying to get to everyone else as well. Tommy does need to do the similar thing and respect that Cassante. Just kill one of your AD carries, maybe not the second as well.
Oh, that was funny. Just running at the Jin. Like, hey, that first bullet didn't really do anything. Hey, that second bullet didn't really do anything. You gonna cancel it yet, or we gonna cancel you? We gonna send you to the death chamber? What's going on?
Playing chicken a little bit there, but I think the Cassante wins that one, just for the record. Blue buff taken, I think, there by Griffin. Follow the magical journey. Tempered Fig catches both. Hooey, where are we going here, son? Grey screen, I think.
The best part for me about that is just the FlyQuest pings of enemy has vision here on Hooey as they take him out.
Yeah, no, like, there's some questions I have to ask about who he, in that particular moment. Look, he's gone for the Blood Song. He's gone for this kind of, this damage bard. Clearly, he's here as the support carry and felt the need to contest the blue buff. I don't know whether that was smart, but it was done.
Yes. Yes. That's the only thing I can say to that
words
situation.
You'd like to say. Okay, yeah.
Look, I know I'm technically paid to talk, but sometimes one can truly be left speechless, and I feel like I'm about to be left speechless by this fight.
Masu. Oh, Rune Prison comes off. Nice throw, Jamada. I appreciate it. Speaking of a throw, there's a massive fastball to the head of that Varus who goes straight on down. Gakos goes all out. But unfortunately, Handback will follow with the safeguard. The Dragon's rage into a wall, followed up by the resonating strike. The Lee Sin mechanics have been very slick this game, and Handback locks in the Lee Sin and says, you know what? I can carry this game. I ain't falling off anytime soon. And now, with 2 dead, to Baron we go.
Baron, there you go. And should be Sentinels through and through. Very surprised this game has panned out the way it has. I mean, again, so much of this series so far has just come down to a mechanics check, right?
Yeah.
Change of Corruption, hit Rahel there, they can kill him. Maybe the fight looks different. Maybe Masu doesn't get locked down, but it is a fantastic angle from Darkwings, who so far in this series has been performing. He was one of the few members of Sentinels I was maybe a bit concerned about. Just because his champion pool, again, it's not as wide as one may need it to be in this kind of meta in terms of what you need to provide for your team. But so far, obviously only 2 games of Fearless just hasn't been tested, and he's been finding so much value from his own hard work on these angles. And will he get caught out here? He's committing to the side wave, but look at the shadow. It's got Hugi and Harmbach. They can see that red ward. Did they see Griffin? They did.
And onto Griffin, there's the miasma. Just about get out. They with why the TP's in. And now this gets a little bit more interesting. FlyQuest is left off. The Room Prisoner, the Overlords get horrified with Horizon. Just about twice the Harmbach running him down. There is no way that Karma is surviving. The Tempered Fate comes on down, and Griffin and Quad desperate to try and trade something here. All out briefly from Gatgod. Hell backs away, doesn't go down. And the Cassante falls as well. The flank, the Fnatic push does not work over here in North America. Masu has to run an impact. This dragon, I think, has grown a little larger than Masu would like, and he ain't dragon slaying today.
Yep. Realm War will drag all of the minions in. And that small bit of time save, I don't even think it'll be needed to end this game. Sentinels looking to move 2 up, and FlyQuest, they need to regain some ground quickly. They need to go back to the drawing board, because they want to qualify to EWC in the summer. It's going to have to be through a reverse sweep here.
It absolutely is. Sentinels, in decisive mid-game fashion, go to series point. FlyQuest need to find an answer, or they're going home decisively early. Me and you, mate, we were expecting a 5-game back and forth affair. Don't get me wrong, the games have been competitive, but this is now 2 games in a row where the mid-games have gone very much in Sentinels' favors, particularly around these objectives. That cannot be happening again, as FlyQuest, they need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those kind of series where if this is a best of 3 and you saw Sentinels 2-0, you'd think, oh, well, Sentinels probably just won 2 games, right? Maybe, like, that's just what happened. But Goldcraft kind of says it all. You know, they barely really held more than a 2,000, 3,000 at an absolute stretch peak just after 15 minutes. For a majority of that game, it was the Nash into game end, right? Super close games so far, and that does inspire a little bit of hope for me that FlyQuest can try to dig a little bit deeper and try to bounce back, because it will have to be now 3 games on the trot if they want to take down Sentinels in this series.
Well, to the janitor's closet, need FlyQuest to go. Find that broom, look for the reverse sweep on the other side. Sentinels, 1 game away from the Esports World Cup. We'll find out whether they can manage it after the break. The end of the road is indeed in sight for Sentinels. They are 2-0 up in this series here in the qualifiers for North American League of Legends for the Esports World Cup. And bluntly, Jamada, it's two games that have been competitive, yes, in the early stages, but I still feel like Sentinels have just looked that bit more composed as the game has gone on. And FlyQuest, the pressure is on here and now, or they are done.
Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done, right? The LCS is a much weirder competition in terms of you've got the amount of length, the duration of the regular season into playoffs. Getting EWC now, there's an air of pressure relief. Having that, knowledge of, hey, we get international after this split no matter what. So this young squad, again, just got to do their best to try and dig in. It's a lot to ask. Remember, the average age of this team on FlyQuest is, I think, like 20 and a half. It's not high.
So young.
It's not high at all, especially when you compare it to the other side of Sentinels.
Yeah, exactly. Huhi and Impact are two of the most veteran members in NA. And don't get me wrong, Rahel, Hambak, Darkwings, all pretty young players. Maybe you can count someone like Rahel as more of a journeyman at this point. Got a year or so of play under his belt, similar with Darkwings, but they are still nowhere near the level of veterancy that we are seeing from the likes of Impact and Huhi. Though it must be said in this game, it was the combination of old and young that was really finding the success. Huhi and Hambak in this mid-game were so obnoxious, finding all these little picks that ruined FlyQuest Day. Darkwings here with a wonderful flank that took out Masu, and this was the moment that really broke the game. 2 games in a row, Sentinels get to that sole point. Hambak just styles on there with a little bit of Lee Sin carry performance.
Yeah, and a lot of these games have come down to how these objectives are handled, right? The setup around them. Game number 1, it was about, identifying being in the river first was just pivotal. Game number 2, it's about covering angles. And on both of those checks, unfortunately, FlyQuest have just come up short and never really got those conditions that they needed to find successful approaches on them. And Sentinels have just been happy to lap up every single fight because, I'll be honest, Sentinels haven't had to do a lot of particularly hard work in this series. And that's not to say that FlyQuest have just been giving them these easy opportunities. No, Sentinels have worked for it just whenever it's made sense. Otherwise, just the fact that these compositions have given them prio on the timers that they've needed, they have executed flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games in a row, you have got a game where you're at Soul Point. Hell, you're the team with the Smolder and you've got Soul Point. Yes, that's because you flexed it. Top lane, you got that as the counter pick into the Cassante, but still, always a bit alarming when that kind of thing's happening. And again, at this point, you find yourself 0-2 down. LCS record, be damned. That's kind of irrelevant here. The performance has been different in this show to what's going on over there, and that's made things very interesting. But you made it all the way to this finals of FlyQuest. You go down into the lower bracket, you beat Liquid again, who are doing so well in that other tournament. You get here, you're so hyped, you're 0-2 down. You're a very young squad, and on the other side, Sentinels, again, not having the best time over in the LCS. What, they're 1-3 right now? Not exactly exciting in terms of a performance record, but they are now 1 game away of locking EWC regardless, and I think a lot of that as well is the fact that they have got, as we noted, 2 very, very veteran players here, just helping steady the ship. Yes, Impact died a little bit, but the fact is, this guy who's kind of, in some ways, and I generalize here, and I'm aware I'm generalizing here, but someone who's kind of gone, oh, he plays tanks these days. Is he really good enough to be playing the carries? People have said that about Impact for years, and still somehow he goes, you know what? Smolder works just fine here for the composition. Comes out, gets the stacks, turns up that way. You've got Huhi on that Bard. It's a roaming champion. He's always been the great roamer of NA. Gets all over the map with that Lee Sin. Gets things rolling. I'm a little nervous here for FlyQuest because I think Sentinels are steely enough, considering the players, to make this a 3-0 if FlyQuest don't come out with something special.
Yeah, I like your point about Impact too, because obviously players change and evolve over time, and Impact has had one of the longest careers, active careers, on the planet.
Yeah.
There's that Jack skin for a reason. There's that Jack skin for a reason. He can play carries. And so that flexibility, I'm not going to say it's on demand because we've seen him on carries in spots where we've questioned it, and then
I agree.
Those questions felt warranted. But here, that game just made sense. Smolder, slam it, and he did away with that Cassante lane quite easily. So FlyQuest, like you said, is this the game where, back's against the wall, you just start getting creative, you just kind of allow that freedom to Gatcoast to be on those carry picks? Do you let Griffin pick up something a little bit early, like that Shen, right? I think that Shen has a lot of applicable games that aren't just necessarily about one particular thing in terms of like maybe taunt value or anything like that. That champion just works because of the items, because of the kit. It's about really the rest of the composition around him as opposed to what's actually going on even on the enemy team.
I mean, the thing that's worrying me here for FlyQuest is if I looked at these drafts and the nameplates were off for both games, I would not have been immediately able to go, oh, that's FlyQuest. Like, they put up a Sejuani this game, which is a little out of meta, but you know what? It's like, in terms of the composition, it kind of does what it's supposed to on the tin. Yeah, the Cassie appears there, all right, but could have told that was quad. But otherwise, it's pretty cookie cutter. Game 1 as well. Ashe Seraphine plus a Pantheon. You've got the strong control mage mid, yeah, etc, etc, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. Sion as well with that enchanter. That's a good composition. It's a meta composition. It's found a lot of success at a lot of different tiers all over the world. But it doesn't scream FlyQuest to me. Yes, Griffin got a fantastic lead, and that Pantheon was very scary on it. Could definitely have done some damage. It was a winnable game in both games, I think, in a lot of ways. But it doesn't feel to me like I'm seeing the source that makes FlyQuest FlyQuest right now.
Yeah, that game, they just needed a bit more backline threat, right? And I think when it comes from Griffin, that feels good. And obviously, Sejuani is a champion with non-committal engage and the ability to pull the trigger. So it's one of those weird things where Sejuani can be a driving factor in pushing a game forward, but it's not really a carry champion, right? So Let's see if that's where they decide to force the issue, as seems like we might be having that same bug from the last Champ Select, so please just do bear with us. I heard Mundo, I heard Ambessa, I heard Skarner.
I did too.
So those should be the three. There was definitely a Lucian ban quote that just came through. As Sentinels just not really willing, or I guess that would have been a FlyQuest ban to give that over. As we wait and see to where these two teams will go in their bans and what exactly is still going to be left up, because we are starting to approach that point in drafts where, yeah, Fearless starts to matter a lot.
It does. First two games, again, you kind of just get to go through different varieties of the S tier. And in some ways, again, we've had this conversation about Fearless. In some ways, Fearless stops you seeing the same matchup over and over again, but it doesn't necessarily stop seeing the same champions over and over. Partly because there's a lot of quite strong champions in the game right now, and there's a lot of strong duos, so a lot of those things just stick around. Your Corki Namis, your Yunara Lulus, your Lucian lanes, all those kind of things still very much circulate here. You don't necessarily get to be on the ban table until a little later. The Nasus comes on down. Triple banning Griffin. They have been putting all their effort into limiting that creativity. On the other side, Sentinels, they're the team that pulled out the Lee Sin, the Anivia support, the Smolder top. They've definitely come into this matchup ready and waiting with that little bit more recent tape from yesterday. And just making FlyQuest stutter a little bit here. See what their final ban's going to be. It'll be the Nautilus away from Huhi. Where are we at in terms of our enchanters? I see the Nami up, but Seraphine, Karma, Bard all down. Jarvan first picked. Are we now seeing something like a Corki Nami or something like that? Or a Yunara Lulu to get an enchanter out here?
Is up
also
to...
True.
I actually wouldn't be too opposed to a Nocturne Lulu rotation. I do feel like, whilst obviously adding additional dive with Nocturne feels good, Lulu is one of these champs that kind of subverts that rule. Just because if Lulu is close enough to wild growth that Nocturne, all of a sudden you've got this massive AoE knockup.
Are you on the money?
As the rest of the teams, I mean, Nico is
This'll
also
work too.
fine. Yeah, turn off the lights,
Yeah,
Nico ult. And of course, you kind of deny that away from the Jarvan combo too, right? Like Jarvan Cataclysm with the Populus feel scary. So I'm down for this. And hey, we saw this combo work yesterday at a pretty damn good effect. So I expect the exact same thing to come out of FlyQuest here in terms of efficacy. Corki Nami seems very likely. And I guess when you're looking at Corki Nami and Jarvan's on the enemy team, and one particular Explorer has not been locked in throughout this series, that
true,
makes for
actually.
a very quick slam out of Marsu.
Yeah. I mean, you could still Yunara here if you want to use that kind of dash to get out of the pit. But again, I am perhaps of the slightly controversial opinion that Yunara doesn't actually scale that well in pro games of League of Legends because she's a little bit too vulnerable as the game goes on. You have all this damage, but how often do you just see Yunaras go 1-for-1? It's just that little bit difficult to stay safe as the game gets later, and partly as a result, that Ezreal that you were calling for gets immediately slammed for Masu. Lots of things to look to dodge away from. Very strong early poke here as well, but perhaps a little less sustain than the Nami will bring.
Yeah, I'm curious about what the 4's going to be here. Galio actually banned by FlyQuest, despite being 4, so they don't actually want to blind it. And so they take it away. I wonder what that's going to call for in favor of FlyQuest, because Galio doesn't really have like crazy good matchups other than when he can like match globals, right? Those are the only ones where you start to kind of go, okay, maybe that's what it is. So if
the Rumble,
perhaps
FlyQuest
Rumble
top has kind of disappeared a bit. So
yeah,
we've not seen that one either. Obviously,
and Rumble's obviously
so.
yeah. So maybe it's something like a Twisted Fate blind. Like if they feel like they can get enough of these mids out, that would kind of feel very annoying. And like Oriana's gone, Cassio is whatever matchup, Ryze is gone, Azir is gone.
Azir's gone. Yeah. We are getting
all of those champs.
There is a Victor.
Yeah, so
you could Victor Jarvan. That's not right.
You could also ban Hui if you'd like, and I feel like Hui is one of the few champs that is kind of annoying to lane into. That's in Darkwings' pool still. But we'll see what the pool is. Quad is also one of the few mids that isn't Darkwings that plays Hui to pretty good effect as well. So I wouldn't mind if they want to ban. If they want to lock this in on 4 as a blind, it takes it away from Darkwings' pool. And I would expect that he just goes towards the Victor if that's the case. And all of a sudden, Harmbach is just left on a champion like Jarvan who won't have much backup, right? At least when you're playing Hui, you can give him an ult over the top. You can give him the QW from downrange. We'll see exactly where FlyQuest want to go, though.
I mean, look, Java's going to put down the shot glass, but what you're filling up with, I mean, a tidal wave at this point, but let's be real, a shot of water is not exactly the most exciting or spicy thing available to you in a lot of ways. And again, locking down this Ezreal, relatively limited. Of course, you are still Jarvan, very strong right now in general, very creative early pathing. Okay. There's the Annie, so between Annie, Nico, Nocturne, your immediate snap, engage, and burst is very strong.
That it will be, and of course the lights, right? The lack of vision can cause a lot of confusion here for Sentinels. Aurora, okay. Looks like that will be the choice. I would love to see Sentinels maybe try to find another double flex, but I just doubt they have it in the tank. Just for the flexibility of something weird being pulled out here by Gakkos, because what if, you know, this core 4 here from FlyQuest can operate by itself? If Sentinels pick something particularly abusable, you know,
it's a Vayne up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's where my mind's
We've seen it mid from some of these guys. They're going to go for the Shen. Impact Shen, a denial from Griffin as well. Very nice. Dude. Are we thinking of GPing this?
Oh, dude, no, we're not giving me a GP game, right, Gakkos? Like we're not doing that. Let's not talk covers. Vayne. I mean, we spoke about the Vayne. Yeah, Zahen good, Cho'Gath okay. There are plenty of options really into Shen that you can lock early. Gwen, another one. There isn't a lack of choice, is basically what these hovers are saying. And, Gwen is that carry of choice, that counter pick into Shen. That Impact is going to have to navigate very, very carefully.
And again, it's also someone who can just skip and slash out of a Cataclysm, so keeping her locked down, not that simple. Of course, you do now have Jarvan Shen, so you do have that ability to have someone follow the J4, and Sentinels comp makes a lot of sense. You have the Shen player just doing his thing, and then turn up with a team fight. The AoE, CC, put everyone inside the Cataclysm, hit him with a Tidal Wave, hit him with a Shen'el, blow them up with the Between Worlds. Kind of makes some sense. On the other side for FlyQuest, I mean, it's a Nocturne comp. You all try and snap engage and blow up that first target and pray the Shen doesn't save whoever it is you're hitting.
Yeah, and I think trying to play side lanes is going to be very tricky for Sentinels just because of the Nocturne, even though you've got the Stand United. And this is one thing I'm kind of curious about. Shen into Nocturne. It's a curious choice, right?
Match globals, kind of, I guess.
You can't. This is the problem. Unless you have, and this is the only tech against it. Unless you have a spell shield, you can't actually not be blinded.
Edge of Night in a Dream.
Yeah, it's like Edge of Night in a Dream, or you go like Verdant Barrier, which only builds into Banshee's Veil. So, you know,
tank item anymore.
It's tricky. It's really, really, really tricky. You have to cast your Stand United immediately. Like, there is a small frame where that vision, that paranoia close in is still happening, and you can cast Star. But if you don't cast it in that half a second, you have to just wait until the lights come back on.
I was about to wonder there as well whether we're going to see the level 1 fight for the Raptors. We have seen around the world a lot of Nocturnes just full send as the Nocturne at level 1 and just say, hey, I might not have a dash, but I can still fight you over these camps, and I will be absolutely lethal. Very, very strong level 1 trading from the Nocturne, especially if you are obligated to be in melee range over those camps. Not going to happen here, though. It's going to be a relatively standard start. The Nocturne starting on his own. Raptors potentially looking to play towards this Gwen, and then try and get Gakkos, who is finally on a carry this series, to attack that global, because one of the ways you do beat the Shen as a global is just jump on him instead.
That you do. And like I said, side laning going to be an issue. Gwen will outscale both of these solo laners for sure 1-to-1. And if you're attacking the global in Shen, then, well, he can't Stand United himself. And even if you attack the Aurora, depending on how it plays out, again, right? If the lights are off and Impact just doesn't press the button early enough, it's going to be a pretty nasty trade. Wow. Force the flash even.
This could get a bit interesting. He can maybe look, he's cleared in an interesting way to his Krugs, where last looking for that kill doesn't have that now, and now Gakkos has burned his flash. The flag comes on down. There is the Shadow Dash. Decent chunk there, a little bit of healing, but Gakkos is a dead man to handback, make no doubt about it with that red buff. When's the skip and slash? Does have his passive run out, he's just waiting. Oh, this is miserable. He's being denied so much farm as a result as well. They don't want to allow this. Are we sure? This gets messy, he's got a W now.
He just got level. Yeah.
He doesn't have options here, I don't think. The red buff finally comes on down. They buy their time and do deny some CS, but that got a little bit dicey, I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't say dicey's not the right word. I think it's particular because sure, Gakkos isn't hitting creeps, but do you know what else Armbach's not doing? Yes, he got 400 gold and a little bit of XP for the kill. He's not hitting camps, right?
No.
So this is where things are weird. Griffin can, after his blue buff, do the crab, and then just wait in the chickens because he knows where Harmbach started. And if Harmbach loses that camp, big problem. Big
Shen
problem.
could also potentially be dived here. They might just say, hey, we can look at this. But no, he's going to reset and get those swords, I guess, and then maybe look at that Raptor respawn. But I'm just looking at this. It means he can't fight for the Raptors now. I get Harmbach there with the battle ready, so it would have been a tricky fight.
You can see Harmbach's bathing. He's fully conscious that his chickens could have been invaded. He left his blue, he left the bot crab, which FlyQuest will have information on because they've warded the Fey-light spot,
River?
so they know the crab is still there. So Griffin could theoretically go chickens, Krugs, chickens, crabs. Yeah, right, that's the order.
Okay. There is one with the jumps going top again. Oh boy, right, Harmbach's top. He's been so proactive this series. Had a great Lee Sin game. Puts down the wall, just got gas, but he's got to be very careful walking close to this wall because you can still have a flag and a drag over it. He knows something's up. That wave is not in a great spot.
I need to know how Gakkos lets this happen on this frame. Won't connect. I mean, again, though, however, you just have to look at the jungle CS because this is the real, you know, this is the real headline of all of this. Harmbach has done the equivalent of a full clip in 4.5 minutes. Griffin, however, has gotten both crabs and has also done a full clear and a half. And he's got his top camp spawning up already. If he soaks up any XP anywhere, which I haven't seen him do, but if he soaks up any XP anywhere after these 2 camps, he will be level 6.
Yeah,
that is just how it is.
Very close. And this is often the trade we've seen in Pro League of Legends at the minute. Early plays from junglers might get you kills and gold, but it doesn't get you the same amount of experience as camps do, and that is showing here, in fact. Pull up the experience. I'm going to get a little bit of trading topside, but hopefully... There we go. You can see Griffin is a long way towards that 6, and that is a little alarming. Because then the Nocturne ult's online and things begin to get rolling.
When the Gromp dies, he'll jump up to about 85. Yeah, 81.
Yeah.
It's just arbitrary guessing there. And he's got not a lot to do other than kind of just sit here and look around. Like, are this guy's chickens up yet? No, not really, because they've got about 15, 20 seconds to spawn. My chickens coming up as well. I'm just going to take it back. Spend a little bit of gold. Quite like that Griffin goes into these double rubies early on. The jungle pet, you've got so much base AD, the jungle pet scaling probably does actually turn out to give you a faster clear, having those extra rubies. Of course, we'll just go towards the Hex Plate regardless, but the chicken count. Anyway, bottom line, that will give Griffin level 6. And he can do whatever the hell he wants.
We're going to have 6s elsewhere on the map. Well, Shen does have that stand united, so got to be a little aware of that. But as you said, not the simplest to respond to a Nocturne dive with the Shen ult, unless the kill is either slow or the Shen is real quick on that button press. Nothing on this bot side as well. Cryogen just hit 6, so did Gakkos. Over to the Dragon we go instead. FlyQuest saying, you know what, we've given up these early Dragon stackings 2 games in a row, and it really bit us in the ass. Not this time around.
Yeah. Harmbach trying his best to just edge his way forward.
There's...
Yeah, just look at the vision control. It's gone. And the crab spawned here too. So, kind of double jeopardy in a way. Griffin, you don't want it? It's my...
from him.
Did they catch Harmbach slipping into this bush? I don't know if they did.
I don't know.
Griffin will press his key. Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. Over comes the aura as well, flash away. Potential chance to follow. Where's the Shen ult? Is it going to be burned? Yes, it is. Yeah. Now he gets spied. They took too long to kill. The weirding. They do manage to kill off Harmbach and just about slice unless they're going to do longer to spawn. But everyone is here. It is a rumble in the jungle. And that mech was played in game 1. Sentinels now trying to run away. They are 3-1 of the kills, and they're going to potentially lose an additional member as Cryogen Flash trying to get the kill. Masu lands the essence. Fluck, when's the next auto? The root comes on down. There's a shield with that Twilight Assault, but it will still end
But
up
the
being
top
the
lane.
2
We need to
for
look
2.
top.
Yeah.
2 plates. I mean, look, 2 kills. They end up landing in Impact's pocket. Not ideal, right? Not actually ideal when you think about how this play maybe wants to look ideally. But the paranoia, right? 6 seconds of darkness, or I think maybe 5. Comes up, Humber. Immediately gets sorted by the Shen. Can't be interrupted at all by Gakkos. And this is where Shen can look really oppressive, you know? The shield, the Spirit Refuge, I want to say the W's called, right? The auto attack blocker.
That's the one.
It's really, really annoying. And when you look at the, you know, the damage composition of FlyQuest, a lot of the early damage will be coming through like auto attack spells, right? Like Ezreal Q, obviously just all of Griffin's damage pretty much, Gwen. So that's a lot of work, but a lot of the gold goes into his back pocket, right? And I feel like Sentinels need it to go into Rahil's pocket. They need it to go into Darkwing's. So even though they kind of win out, how much do they win out really? Basically is the real bottom line there.
I guess Gakkos back into the game, right? Like, he was struggling. Now, actually, he's found himself in a lot more even space. A little bit of luck here at Quadrant. Got hit there by that Aqua Prison. Into the flag and the drag, and that's a little unfortunate.
I don't know why, but, like, the way that Harmbach stutter stepped before casting the flag and drag, he just kind of looked at him like, you're up in the bubble, idiot. And then hit the flag and drag on him.
Get bubbled, nerd.
Yeah, just kind of gave me a bit of a giggle, but good pick. And yeah, Cryogen just shouldn't be dead. Just did a little bit of disrespect.
There's a few wards he walked over there by the looks of it. They kind of got punished.
Yeah, good vision. Good vision control. You know, Sentinels half lost the play on the bot side once, and they were like,
Here we go.
Okay.
Support. Oh, this gets spicy. Can they kill this off before the things get completed? Don't be there, Griffin. TP comes in. It's a slow TP. The Aurora actually gets that, but does Griffin have a spell shield? We saw that one, Dark Wings, across the veil into a wall, apparently.
Yeah, the wall's been bulking. You know?
right. It's been hitting the gym.
It's the wall's fault. Yeah, it's the wall's fault. It's not Darkwings. Cataclysm?
Okay, there's a Tippers here. This gets a bit spicy. Quad does not get the Molten Shield, and so just gets one-shot Humbuck.
Does
He's on a
Humbuck
carry mission today.
Does Humbuck have something? Wow.
No.
Wow.
He just has Smite and a Tunneler.
I thought maybe it was like the crit damage that like kind of pushed that into lethal, but no, he just Java just got it on him like that. Yeah. All right then. Well, not much to say. Good pick. Doesn't result in much. Quad will have ult by the time the next dragon spawns up. Humbuck will have ult by the next time the next dragon spawns up. Curious about what Impact's going to build, just as a side. Seems we're staring at this, and neither team is necessarily setting up for Drake yet. I'm more so the Dusk and Dawn second is kind of where my head's at.
There, because of course that has generally been the build, hasn't it? That kind of item's been just really ridiculous on Shen over the last little while.
Yeah, because you can, and it looks visually very funny. When you Q and you've got Dusk and Dawn, the auto, so first off, Shen's Q goes off twice, and then you see the Titanic proc go off twice, and then you can press the active. Griffin was the one that won the smite there. So, TLDR, lots of damage. Shen, actually kind of a damage threat, weirdly enough, with that build. Let's see if you can find
really
threat on Tommasu.
Because for a long time, there was a point where it felt like Shens were forced to build things like the Redemption, go full kind of support build. And a lot of Shen mains are feeling a little bit sad about their champion just lacking any teeth. Especially since, you know, the rework before the first phase kind of died. We're going to dive top instead, though. Enough mattering about prior reworks. You don't have Dusk and Dawn right now, Shen, and that's a kill donated to Gakkos. Second time is the charm. No teleport to bail the Shen out this time.
Yeah, able to catch him in between towers, and the first initial tower dive I did feel was a little bit more audacious. But this time around, there is no teleport from Darkwings to save Impact Soul.
They've got 3 grubs. I think that's turret.
Yeah, there's a good chance, actually, if we could pan up to it as the dragon goes down. Gakkos is just gonna kind of pseudo-proxy, prep this tower to drop in this wave, and look for the reset. We're gonna be going Riftmaker first. Gwen, of course, one of those champions, those Dusk and Dawn champions. So we'll be very curious to see what path he goes towards, because Quad needs to path out.
Ooh, gets the double stun, just about squeaks away. Sliver of life, but not down entirely. Good send from Sentinels, but they don't get the kill they were looking for. And of course, you saw that gold there as well. Sure, Handback's leading the way. You look who's following. It's Griffin just behind him. And now Gatgos, who's gotten that turret, gotten that CS lead, gotten all of that farm into his back pocket alongside that kill. He is definitely online. The Riftmaker going towards an Ashes soon. And this Gwen, this additional carry threat, the counter pick, the carry pick for Gatgos is here and looking like it will be a threat in this game. And they're starting to do what that ye olde adage of League of Legends says, which is attack the global. Shen, a couple dives. The second one definitely worked out in their favor and makes this a very interesting mid-game. Again, we're dead even. And the gold split quite interestingly.
Yeah, actually, could we get a look at individual gold? Because
we can.
I'd
I'll
love
bring
to
it right back
know.
up
Yeah, sorry, because that was a little bit eye-wandering. Yeah, I mean, Griffin leads the entire game, but it's really about Gatgos and his lead over Impact. Because one thing that this Titanic Hydra can provide is obviously wave clear, but if you are so far behind that you just get chunked out.
Oh boy.
Or run down.
Yeah, that's going to force a flash, and that is getting to very precarious positions. You can put down a Spirit's Refuge, but it does very little against a snip and a lot of needles. Shen doesn't need the stitch-up job. He needs to get out of there is what he needs. He's got a Titanic Hydra, sure, and he'll be able to clear up this wave a little, and that's great news, but his ability to win this lane is kind of done, it feels like.
Yeah, just to be a bit English for a second, I feel like he's been stitched up looking at Shen blind here versus Gatgos.
Right?
I mean, you know, at the end of the day,
drafts,
you know, it's player and coach choice at the same time, but this does just feel a bit rough. And remember, Gatgos sold for a lot of good options too. And I guess for those who aren't English, stitch up just means like you've been set up. Just so we're clear. He's been set up for failure.
I made the pun. Jamada followed. At this point, if you don't get it, guys, I get this is a North American broadcast, so you know. Welcome to a bit of additional cultural exchange. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what this is. Who's Herald in about 20 seconds? Nami's just gonna do the funny walk up to him thing.
Yeah, just be annoying. Okay. I just saw Handback behind, so there was a world there where potentially Aqua Prison into Tidal Wave could have been a potential full send down. I don't think Griffin would have wanted to flash if he could help it. Did have to burn that full, smite, not the flash. It was on a short-term cooldown, and again, he did have that second stack, so that'll be up in case they do want to play for this Herald. We'll see whether that is the decision. As it stands, the Aurora getting a little bit more success here into the Gwen. Quad, though, not enjoying the Titanic Hydra. He needs to get out of here.
Yeah, so that's where you can see the damage can be quite threatening onto a carry member. And this is the ideal lane setup for Sentinels. Aurora into the Gwen. Again, I will say this. Gatgos will get to a point where he just outscales the Aurora. Good clone usage. But in the immediate future, this is just going to kind of stem the bleeding. It's not going to stop it entirely. And it will do a little bit. Griffin and Gatgos, they've done this a lot. They've just cross-mapped.
Here we go. Attacking the Shen again. They're giving up the Herald. They know they don't want to fight it with Darkwing or Quad, rather being a little low. There's the fear on's impact. The needles begin to fly. And that is a very dead Shen. A brief moment of good trading against Annie does not a side lane win create. He also forced to flash as he ends up face-checking the Annie, who gets her own little bit of vengeance. And forces that flash out. The True Shot Barrage!
Oh, True Shot
Barrage! Is that from Masu?
Dude. Good aim, but also it kind of flew through everyone. Did no one feel to warn Uncle what was going on
there?
You know,
ward. Like he could ward himself.
Yeah. Actually, that might be his ward.
Yeah.
That might even be his ward. Tisk. Oh, hello, submarine.
Speaking of globals.
Yep.
Well, they're going to try and jump at this one. No needlework to work with. That makes the Gatgos's options here a little limited. That's the way he's got the flash. He does. Flash follow into the Cataclysm. We'll get the extra summoner. I appreciate the attempt, but it isn't going to lead to all that much. We've got 5 seconds until Dragon. Teleport is up for Gatgos, and it is worth noting a couple ults were burned there by Sentinels, but realistically, the 4v5 feels a little much. First Dragon did go the way of FlyQuest, so they're not at sole point as they would have been in the last couple games, but there you go.
Top side of the map, they were eyeing up a potential cross-map play. And I like this proactivity from FlyQuest. It's not often that you see teams elect to drop objectives or very proactively cross-map when they know a team is, like, you know, just kind of overloading numbers into a side lane or just Highly prioritizing an area of the map, but there you go. Like we say, seems like at a point, the fear tether did get broken.
There was a dash
by the
away,
taunt.
and it was over a wall, so it managed to get him out of range, which is not always a guarantee.
Just visually, it looked a little clunky, because there was almost like no frame where it looked particularly visible.
Here comes that.
Yeah.
There is an army around here. I don't think this really leads to any particular kill option. The high ball is blessed. Does allow for a good chunk there at the very least, and Gatgos goes, ow, but again, not going to be under too much threat. Griffin burned that ult down that bot side. It has got a hex plate though, and he is level 11, so the cooldown is relatively limited, it must be said. He'll be up and available relatively shortly. When's our next objective? 4 minutes till the next dragon. That would be soul point for Sentinels. Infernal Soul or an Infernal Soul roll this time around. Got that game 1, and they'll be pretty happy if they can pick that one up. Of course, you are then looking at the time where Masu at that point will realistically have that Muramana transformation with those 2 kills early. He picked up that Masamune pretty early on. Are we face checking this Jarvan quad? No, thought about it. Shen's here. Does he want to jump on this Nocturne? Just want to say no. Just bottle ward him. Actually, he left anyway, so I got baited by the fact that I thought Impact was still in that bush. Whoops. Oh, Herald top.
Herald top indeed. Stand United is not up. If there is a fight to break out here, but it won't be the case. And someone is going to have to answer the bottom side of the map, so likely, actually Impact is going to slide over. Everyone's taking resets on Sentinel's side. Again, just more gold, just surely going over to FlyQuest and co. Though, hey, power taking the top side, just to secure a little bit of additional change as Shelly rolls over, says bye-bye, Summoner's Rift. Darkwing's off that, does have a Shadow Flame, so yeah, very, very big burst damage potential. See if he's able to put it on the table.
Camp. The AoE smite hits all of the camps there. Feels very good. Worth noting actually as well that the mid turret did fall for FlyQuest. We can't quite see when that happened. Or if we did, I don't remember it, and that's probably a bad sign. Either way, it's down, and that's potentially quite significant here as you're trying to play with these global threats. TP in, there's that Stand United on the quad. In comes the Nocturne. Cataclysm, Pop Blossom, everyone's pulling the ultimate triggers. The problem is the damage getting a little limited, 1-for-1 to follow up.
Oh,
By the way,
damage.
the Gat goes down threatening, trying to get onto it. It's now a 1v3. Shen goes over the wall, gets the kill onto Quadrant. It's very split, very messy. Gatgos misses the needles, trying to threaten this Aurora. He's slowed down so much though. Where are you dashing? Gets jumped onto by Shen with that Shadow Assault. Now Masu's left alone, just couldn't get enough done, didn't want to flash over the wall, and Sentinels win out that fight handily. Potentially in danger under this turret, won't get jumped on anymore. It's a absolute bloodbath, but it's Sentinels who come out on top again in this mid-game.
Scared look at it because it all comes down to, well, quad face shaking the Jarvan, right? Like we were saying not too long before this. Cryogen actually can't get the ideal 2-man, just kind of blocked out there by the Cataclysm. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much because the way that the fight is split up, Sentinels are the ones that can kind of just pick and choose and kite out some of these melee champions still left on the table, namely Gatgos, and that kill credit goes over to Darkwings.
I've also got to call it out, and it feels really mean to do that, but Masu, I think, missed every Mystic shot.
Oh, yeah, that's not ideal.
Cryogen gets the flash and a little bit more. Now they're going to pull the Paranoia as well. Leaves the likes of this Aurora really dangerous. Just a flash. Can they jump for more? No, they can't. A decent enough bit of Summoner's Burn. Can we still play out this split fight when the channel? Nowhere near. You can find the catch, feel good about it. You see Impact shoving up this top side wave. We'll get that into turret, and that'll be the end of things. FlyQuest can't confirm a kill. 40 seconds on Dragon.
There will be Sentinels that have control around this area. Stand United is going to be up by the time that Dragon comes up too. Impact is chilling on the top side. Matched into quad again, just the ideal lane matchup. Got a blast cone. Orange Shield is going to give the movement speed to disengage, so Impact won't find that pretty meaty trade. He's close to a second item, despite being so far behind. I wonder, I always forget the combined cost for a Dusk and Dawn, because it's got 4 components built into it.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, it's not... I think it's like 550, but don't quote me on that. Cryogen is in danger here. There's a TP coming. They might have in danger into the channel. Gakko's now in a 2v3. Effectively, the TP's gone. FlyQuest also over the tidal wave. Is there, but of course, he's got the hallowed mist. Keeps him alive. Over the wall we go. They're all solo across the veil. In comes Nocturne. Stride breaker in a dream. Flash to keep the tender. That's a massive shutdown. The Dark Seal stacks are shredded. They kill off the jungle. They kill off the mid. Tibbers runs at 3, and sure, they killed off the Nico, but is it really worth your mid-jungle? That will deny Soul Point. Sentinels definitely reached too far.
It's an overstep from Sentinels that was very unnecessary. Dragon, Griffin doesn't have smite, Griffin doesn't have smite!
He's using the fight, that's what they were looking for. He's down left low, is Gakkos, they're going to run at Quad. Well, Gakkos and Quad will left pretty low. Massive left below, he missed another Mystic shot.
They've got to get something here.
They get nothing. They get nothing. They've got the heal for the Moose Lead. When's the next Valkyrie? When's the next Shadow Assault? Got to be some way of doing this. The Shadow Dash rather. Line 2 ability. They turned on to Impact. The back away. Cryogen with the flanking. Nico gets a load of low members. Masu sped up. Looks for a Mystic shot. Can't quite land it.
Replay. Question mark.
Please. Please.
Oh my god. All right. Yeah, this is where all this madness began. Cool. Pick on Cryogen. Good. Early stand Unite to ensure that Impact can join this fight. The taunt up onto Gakkos is good, but there is no follow-up damage, and the AoE is huge onto these members of Sentinels. Griffin's ultimate finally comes back up. He's able to chase down Darkwings, chase down Harmbuck. He gets 1.5k almost off of those 2 kills. And in the extended, of course, they do get the Dragon, and the fact that no one else dies after that is just bewildering.
I can't believe it. Well, I suppose Shen is dead. It's worth noting for another 15 seconds. Who is that? As it stands, we are starting to get to the point where this Gwen is terrifying. Griffin as well, really in a good spot. Both junglers this series have been absolutely rampant. I think the only game where it wasn't really the case was game 2, and even then Griffin picked up a few early kills. Just Handback's Lee Sin ended up being that significant step more impactful on the Eclipse Lee Sin of all things. Same as we noted, done for Darkwings. Lost half his Dark Seal stacks, was having a superb game on the Aurora before that. He'll be feeling a little bit sheepish about that overdive onto the Nico, who died, and then the fight went so long she got to respawn and flank. Cryogen lands the root up with Handback in a tricky spot, needs to run away, and does so with a little bit of fire chasing him down. Time's up. River control's being fought over Jamada. I think this gets to be quite a tense mid-game. 3 games in a row.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, this entire series has been close fought. Sentinels just happen to be the one that have blown up the Nexus twice.
I hear that wins you games of League of Legends, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was just 50 gold. Not a lot, really. Cannon Minion's worth more late game.
That's true. That's true. Well, Dragon still a whiles away. I think we're going to just have a bit of a respite. So, to take stock very quickly, because it's actually not something we've done this game. No. 80 carries are both at 3 items. And Darkwings, he's going towards a Death Cap 3rd, I'm pretty sure.
Without Rosonias, I'd imagine. We'll have a look at what happened here. This is Impact's death, so he didn't leave after that fight, and Griffin just jumps him again with another ultimate.
Yeah, that's Hexblade for you.
What even got the Ionian boots? He's got Merc Treads.
Yeah, I mean Nocturne R is just a really short cooldown, to be honest with you. Once you've got the Hexblade, the Stride Breaker, it's a lot of total haste.
Massive. He's alright. A little bit worried there that might be forcing a bit more. Another big one lands, and that takes HP. But it does have the red buff and a little bit of life steal as a result. But no endless hunger or the like. Yeah, blue buff's up. Not too much on that one. We've got a minute until Infernal. That means any summoners burned now get to be quite important. Impact shoving up this one, but Gakkos should match. Worth noting, Impact actually managed to get that level up on Gakkos somehow, some way. The level 16 is a big spike for the Gwen. Oh, they're looking at the dash. Here's Darkwing trying to blow up. He's just outside the range of the Hallowed Mist, and the Nocturne pulls the ult. They get the kill. Handback's there, and they just lost their Gwen.
Yeah, I mean, really good look. Very well played to get inside of the range there by Darkwings of that Shroud. And even though Griffin tries to turn off the lights, maybe, brainwash, mind control Sentinels into thinking there would be a little bit of monkey business going on. None of that here to be seen. They get their pick, they get their tower. There's a lot of gold to recoup. They're up 1.5k in total. That will feel good, and that will push Darkwings towards that death cap.
Hex off this dunk for the Corki, by the way. Worth noting, especially when you are looking for that initial bit of burst with things like the Jarvan and Shen kind of shenanigans. The Aurora's joining in on that as well. We've seen the game plan from Sentinels. Getting the additional range afterwards. Pretty good for the Corki, who will need to keep his range from the likes of this very pick-heavy squad of FlyQuest. Dragons up. Here we go. Teleport available for Gatcross would only be so points, so it's not a guaranteed must-fight for FlyQuest. But there's the flag and drag. Doesn't necessarily find exactly what they're looking for. The tidal wave also popped alongside the paranoia. Everyone's coming on in. The true shot right flashes across everyone. Darkwings needs to run away. Abasu on the killing spree. Quadrant pop Blossom gets a bit of a root there onto Hambak. He's likely dead. Gets the shield. No. His GA is now broken, but the angel on his shoulder is saying, I'm sorry, mate, I can't save you more than the once, and he goes down as well. Masu Arcane shifted to melee range of the Corki and says, dodge this, Neo style. They'll get over towards the Infernal Dragon, and it's a wonderful fight from FlyQuest that will earn them Dragon, and likely Baron after as well.
Good play, all in all. It's just a deep TP from Darkwings. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it, as FlyQuest split the objective, taking responsibilities. And I think for the first time, my dear friend Sam, I might get to say we do have a series on our hands.
Gotta hope. You really gotta hope. Baron goes down. There's a fight over here.
The screen went dark,
my
right?
lord!
Yeah, the dark. Yeah, I'm sure that's not the gradient Summoner's Rift is in. Finds his
They
way
did
onto
quite a lot
Huhi.
of work there. So they go Dragon, Baron, and get a kill on Huhi. Let's have a look at this again, because it starts with an attempted pick on Masu and Cryogen that just doesn't work.
Yep, but then it's about the TP. You can see where the TP comes from, but then the rest of Sentinels are just not really trying to guard this particularly well, except Impact, who is just close enough to see what's going on. Most likely. FlyQuest pounce. Hambak does the Hambak thing. I don't really have any other apt way to describe it. And there's just so much damage coming out of this 3-item Ezreal at this point in the game. Rahel cannot survive.
No, they can't. Masu just does bits in that fight. Look, there was that one fight where he missed a lot of Mystic shots. That time around, he did not. He did a lot of work. And he managed to do it into the face of people like Rahel. Did not have a lot of fun. Griffin has got his ult back up again. And he's potentially trying something more. Hambak off vision on his own control ward. Quad. Level 16. Sees people with that sweeper. They will now jump onto the Jarvan, who just is not having anywhere near as much fun. Griffin spell shield the Aqua Prison. A little bit of healing. Just not enough. Keep that Jarvan like, in the bigger picture though, check out the Shen. That's an inhibitor turret going down. Quad trying to jump onto some more. They're going to try and blow up Darkwings, who gets the blast gun to save to the Shen ult to keep him alive, but Griffin keeps on ordering. They get that kill as well. Shen, therefore, doesn't follow and can keep jumping on the inhibitor turrets.
They can. Pushing in that bottom side. He's going to have to try and turn around now. Make it back to base. Quad could follow him. Actually, Quad's just going to... Yeah, the game is over, Sam. There's not much else going on.
They try to defend and the split push doesn't work. There will be no base race. And FlyQuest, make sure it is not a 3-0. The dangers of reverse sweep become that little bit more likely. It's been close. 3 in a row, but finally the coin lands FlyQuest. We get another.
I'm glad. I'm super glad, because this series has been so close to... If it was a 3-0, it wouldn't have really felt like it did it team-to-team strength justice. And FlyQuest able to come through, and so much of that weight coming from the top side. Gatcos on a through-and-through carry this time around. Griffin on Nocturne, doing so much work on this side lane to enable his top laner as well, and just letting the experienced members in Masu and Quad do their thing on the rest of the map past Cryogen. Exists on Nico, and honestly, Nico didn't really have to do much in this game when there's just so much fighting.
It really, really was. I got worried when Quad was getting picked off a little bit. We saw those moments, we went, oh boy, this Jarvan Shen beginning to attack this Gwen a lot. It was a very back and forth game again, but this time around, FlyQuest hold their nerve. Masu has that incredible fight in mid lane, and we end up in a position where FlyQuest scaled better, began to really make this Shen's life hell, and the teamfight win conditions just became so much harder for Sentinels to continually get. We saw the attempted jump on Tomasu, who just has that arcane shift out. It got so hard as we went on.
You know what? I just think that blind Shen, it just didn't make too much sense. I think it really set them up for failure on a map-wide scale. This is one of those few times where I just feel like an individual pick had a lot more weight in deciding what happened on the Rift than they really realized in the moment.
I get it, right? It's an impact special. He's always enjoyed the Shen. I get it to take away from Griffin, who's been playing it in jungle. I see the vision, even with how it's supposed to be paired with things like the Aurora and the Jarvan. We saw that combo be pretty good to give the Jarvan a little bit more teeth. But you're right, the answer was there. They were ready for it. And that means that this road goes on a little bit longer. The road to EWC is long and winding indeed, and I'm glad it is here for this finals. I was worried we were going to get a 3-game series, and my worries have been averted. Go refill your popcorn, go refill your water, then get your butts back in your seats and tune in for Game 4, which is coming up right after this break.
Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion.
Yep. Quick heads up, I'm aware we've not actually had a chance to just give the...
You remind me of me out there.
Well, there's another turn in the road. All those puns just make so much sense with the name of this particular quals for NA. Makes me smile, makes my job very easy when we come back from these breaks, because it hasn't been easy for Sentinels to get the game and the series over the line. They were 2-0 up, and it's another competitive back and forth mid-game. And for once, the knife falls the other way, and FlyQuest are the ones that come out on top. We are getting at least one more game, Jamada, and both of these teams have been getting a little bit more creative in the draft.
That they have, right? Nocturne, Nico, Gwen, Shen pick, but not from Griffin, right? Impact is the one that ends up locking that one down, and I just feel like the fact that, hey, you know, it's a blind, and then Gakkos goes, oh, I see. Well, here are 5 different options. Pick your poison. Actually, no, you can't pick it. I'll pick it for you. It's Gwen.
Have fun.
Just runs the game alongside Griffin in terms of damage output. Says a lot about where Fly were feeling and how confident they were in so many of these fights. And yes, it was very back and forth for the first 20 minutes of this game. But this was always kind of a ticking time bomb situation, this Gwen. Whether it be on the side lane, even with Darkwings matching, right? Or otherwise, it just felt as though Sentinels were going to be in a headlock for a lot of this game after 15 minutes once the early game played out the way they did. And those early dives provided that Gwen with the lead.
Yeah, and the thing is, we had a whole conversation about, Sentinels, they got the really veteran members in Impact, who have been there and done that so many times. Hell, Impact won Worlds, how many reverse sweeps have they been through, etc., etc., etc. And yet it is FlyQuest, this young, plucky vibes team that just never says die, that come back into this third game and play their hearts out. They change up the strat, they play towards Gakkos, and it works out a treat. They get the early dragon as well to stop the dragon stacking. I really like the adjustments here, and I think they worked out super, super well.
Yeah. Just overall a very proactive game, I think is the way that I would call this out from FlyQuest. They, to me, haven't really had too many sequences where that's been the case up until game 3, right? Because again, this has been very much a back and forth series, game to game. The 2-0 scoreline, if it ended up being a 3-0, really wouldn't have done this any justice.
Would not have actually done justice to what this is.
No.
Exactly. It would not really have told the true story of this, and that would have been a big deal. Quick heads up as well to people who are interested in the wider EWC quals information. Mere Masters, you can tell my background here as a caster, it still haunts me to this day. But the road to EWC over in EMEA has concluded for the day as well, with a little bit of an upset in the second series. MKOI 2-1 Vitality. So we've now got our upper bracket as being G2 Na'Vi, who have been a very fun matchup in general if you've been watching EMEA at all.
MKOI
Definitely
KC.
check that one up. And MKOI KC. Spain v France. It's about as heated a matchup as it gets in EMEA. So we're getting spice over on both sides of the pond here in the western regions.
Surprised that Vitality lost 2-1, but also not surprised at all, because that is just very Vitality. Yeah.
It's very them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not much comment there. They love dropping games that perhaps they shouldn't drop. Either way, exciting matchups to come over, I guess, back on the opposite side of the pond, but that's also our side of the pond.
I know, exactly.
Yeah,
on our side of the pond, we have made the proverbial jump over for the last couple of days. It's been good fun. I've been enjoying the vibes and the atmosphere. The gameplay's been really entertaining. And again, I'm so glad it's these teams that have made it, because again, it has been kind of very interesting to see the teams that have played super well through the quals compared to how it's going in the LCS. And actually, to be fair to them, both of these teams at this point, I think, can smell victory. It just depends how this next draft looks, because again, we are now Game 4 of Fearless, which is just a very, very different vibe. And considering how creative both teams are willing to be, I am expecting some serious aces up the sleeves to be pulled out.
As am I, and you can see the bar at the top
Literally.
of our screen. So many champions have been...
That's a rogues gallery if I've ever seen one.
yeah, removed. So I'm really wondering if this focus on Griffin is going to continue, because last game it was 3 Griffin champs, right? Best was 1, Mundo was another, and the third is escaping me, but it was a Griffin champion. So they were really not willing.
Nasus got banned at some point. I can't remember if that was game 1 or not, though.
They were not willing to give him any freedom, and he took effectively the most standard champion still up in Nocturne, and was very happy to navigate that to near perfection. But FlyQuest will hold on to that Skarner ban. I don't think they're going to let that one go through the entire series.
Not considering how tight things are. If you wanted to take that risk, you do it game 1. Not here with everything on the line. The Lucian stays gone from Rahel, who was even back in EU where the Lucian memes are quite strong. For my money, NA has largely been the better Lucian region, particularly once it moved back towards that bot lane over the last few years. Rahel was one of the few allowed the Lucian pass. He was damn scary on it. It was also a little bit of enjoy things like the Zeri, which I wonder whether we might see a little bit more of with the Fiend Hunter bolts, but instead the Yunara still up, still unplayed, could be locked in. You've still potentially got that Lulu to pair it with, but again, it gets a bit tricky because I wonder whether FlyQuest would look to break that duo up on the other side. Just thinking about what they want to first pick here, and it will just be the Renekton saying, screw it, strong early skirmishing, decent blind pick, go forth, but it gives Gatgos again the ability to just pick whatever he wants into it. You're not happy.
Just hit him with a vein, bro. Just go ahead and do it. At some point. A Lulu early here would be pretty good for FlyQuest, I feel like. I
agree.
They're just going to match it with a Gnar.
It's a known matchup. Everyone kind of knows how this one works, and Gnar can sort of do fine, in terms of the 1v1, but the ganks get a bit tricky with the mini. Lulu's locked alongside it, which is kind of what we were expecting, but it's definitely not the spiciest top lane counter I've seen in my life. Let's leave it at that.
No. This is lemon and herb, as far as matchups are concerned.
I completely get what you mean. Like the Nando's order is very basic here for the Brits among us here, and the North Americans are going, what is going on, and why are these?
They're building Nando's in certain parts of America.
Is it
I'm not sure what's going on in like Canada or Mexico, but in
they will
America,
finally understand the lemon and herb reference.
They'll get it. Well, if it's not Lulu, and it's also not Nico, and it's also not Nami, what would the pairing be? Yeah, like at that point, you kind of just look at something like Nautilus. You just get consistent, reliable engage. Try to fill out the rest of this composition with what I would only expect to mostly be a front to back, though I suppose depending on what this mid-jungle ends up being, you could play some side lane. Try and see if Yunara can be ahead enough to get priority. We are just going to have to come back to cams for a moment. Seems like some kind of draft issue.
Yeah. Okay, well, when we know more, we'll let you know. Hopefully we'll be back in the draft shortly. But as it stands, we can only speculate at this point. The Lulu, fair enough. The Renekton, not the Renekton, the Gnar, a little bit more questionable. But hey, just allows you to play very standard team comps. Because I think the thing with the Gnar, right, is it feels like as a champion, it's one of the very few that you can play weak side, low efficiency, and also high resource split push win condition too. So you can play with attention, without attention, with resource, without resource, team fight, split push. You kind of end up having quite a lot of different play patterns and build options, which a lot of other top lanes just don't have that license to do, I guess.
Yeah, no. Does provide a lot of flexibility in and of itself. Again, my big question kind of remains: how creative will FlyQuest want to get for Griffin specifically? Because we've got Lemon and Herb in the top lane, right?
Where's the spice man? Where's my level 5? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I want the extra hot. Well, that's
the one that comes in the big black bottle with the X's written on it that smells of death.
Yeah, cool. Do have small update. Lobby has to be remade. There was a issue with one of the players inside of the lobby, so classic TR, and we should be underway soon. The picks that you saw on the screen will be the ones that are picked once
Holding,
again.
yeah.
And then up to that point, who knows where these guys decide to go. I expect that third pick will end up being Nautilus.
That makes some
like you
sense.
alluded
Is there
to.
any other enchanter? Could you Soraka? I mean, you don't have the Jarvan, because normally it's Jarvan Soraka was what we saw most recently, right? Because you put the silence down inside the Cataclysm, and all those Dash champions get stuck in there regardless.
He is the kind of guy to do it.
I know, that's why I'm
And-
just wondering.
I will say a lot of the traditional dive champs are already out except for Vi. And you know that
Kali too, I suppose.
from the perspective of
but-
Fly, they probably have to lock in their AD or they are going to have a pretty insufferable
Limited
matchup
options, yeah.
with the Lulu. So, I mean, when you think about it, like, what are the Lulu champs still left up? You've got Zeri, Jinx, Aphelios. I guess there's 3.
Tristana, maybe? If you wanted
yeah,
to
I
try
mean,
something
you'd
a
have
little
to
bit
go-
spicy.
Yeah. So,
You'd have to all in very heavily, but it's possible, I suppose.
yeah, it's definitely possible.
There's the Vi ban actually on their end, by the way, so it looks like that was a ban on that one. So the Renekton comes on force. Don't remember if that was there to begin with, and I just forgot.
Was
or
it?
whether
Was it? Was
something
it?
different.
Was,
It was. There you go.
sure it was. So-
just there you go then.
Let's see where they opt into then. So this should be Yunara, and then what is this third pick? Is it Nautilus? Is it a freaky enchant? No, it's Nautilus. Okay.
Okay.
So-
That was the standard option. So there you go.
Aphelios obviously used to be the original premier answer into this Yunara at the beginning of the year. Masu, of course, fairly proficient at it. And there are 2 bans if they want to try and remove some mid-jungle annoying combos that would make piloting that champ irritating. But again, options are plenty. Sivir, wow, yeah, forgot about that. Can run the Sivir, and that's
Just
what they'll
just
opt up,
outscale.
into doing. Yeah, wave clear, outscale, get pressure through the bot lane, most likely. The level 1 is
Nautilus
going to
ain't
be
gonna stop that shove, is he?
yeah, it's going to be very, very hard for Nautilus to stop that shove. And honestly, Sivir is one of those champions where you can, in a way, you can consider them, a champion and a half when it comes to securing priority. That W at level 1, if it isn't contested, is so difficult to deal with in terms of just matching the amount of damage that ends up going down on the wave. Ari, so yeah, just looking to take away any potential dive threats now for that Sivir.
Yeah, I think that potentially an Akali option as well might not be awful. I'm not sure how proficient Darkwings is on the top of my head, but again, he's normally more towards that control mage option. Wei, I suppose, also a viable pick away. Again, you've got the Nautilus you can sort of follow up as an artillery piece with that Severing Bolt, that QW. Can be quite obnoxious.
I'm starting to wonder if this is going to be a draft where they end up giving Griffin last pick. Like, I wonder if this does actually end up being like a blind mid scenario where Quad just picks whatever makes sense and is the safest for prio, So
Yeah.
something like Victor is obviously still on the table with Ari and all of those other mid laners out, and Akali
Syndra
also
possible
gone.
as well?
Yeah, I think Victor though. I think that's what's on my mind. LeBlanc, Ari. It's just
the 2 pick
screaming.
mages, basically.
Yeah, it's just screaming Victor. And
Other
if you're
thought here.
Darkwings, you don't really want that banned, nor do you want
No.
Hwei banned. So is it because you probably want to just try and handshake it? So let's see where they go.
Is this a Maokai angle for Griffin? Do that plus something like the Yone and just like have the most obnoxious team fight with the Lulu behind you. I mean, the laning phase might suck a little, but you're going to have Prio bot
It
at least. Silas would have been
feels-
nice as well.
It feels a little bit out of Quad's comfort zone in terms of.
True.
I don't know how much I like Quad on Yone. He's done it.
Yeah,
but
that's the reason I'm
let's-
wondering.
Let's see, because it would kind of round out this comp nicely if they can hold formation in terms of just trying to play front to back. I
Hwei
feel
and steal
like
this
it's
away.
just this handshake like 99 times out of
Okay.
100,
Okay.
and now I expect, Darkwings
Victor.
Victor, something like the
Yeah.
Syndra. Keep it simple. It's Hardbox pick that actually kind of has me scratching my head a little bit because Wukong, I guess, is what's left up on the table still. There's the Victor.
I mean, do you want to try something like the Neferi or the Kiana? I know it's a little, I mean, it's a bit risky, but you are kind of starting to get to that point in the draft where they become a bit
is
higher
the
prio.
kind of guy. Oh,
Yeah.
don't threaten me with a good time, Brand. Wow,
Let's
Brand
go!
Jungle.
I mean,
A while since we've seen this pick. Oh, I'm gonna wax lyrical in game. I'm just gonna let you know. This is one of my favorite jungle champs in
we
the
will
game.
lock it in.
Yeah, I'm super surprised that this has come down here. So much utility. Let's see what Griffin wants to answer into this, because there is a lot of potential picks that you can use to abuse Brand inside of the jungle. He is a very squishy champion, but FlyQuest kind of need something that isn't necessarily an assassin. But hey, we get the Neferi matchup anyway. This could be cinema. We've got pretty much handshake lanes across the board, right? But then it's all about the jungle matchup and what's going on with the prio. Yeah. This is going to be such a fun game.
Watch us be the Nautilus jungle and they switch the brand support just to really mess with you. Yeah.
I know a friend of mine who's been he's been real big on that Nautilus jungle for a little while. He's like, dudes, like Jamada, just listen to me. Like a little bit AP Nautilus, right? Leandri's into Bloodletter, like just trust me, bro. I'm like, no, it's not good.
With this in mind, then, of course, like I'll pull us away from the horrors of Nautilus jungle, which is making me shudder to my core as an Evelyn player. I never want to deal with that. The matchup in jungle is going to be very, very spicy. I'm suspicious here about the prio for this brand, though, especially around this bot lane, because that Neferi, if they get in and start taking out the brand on repeat, that's where things get difficult.
That is true. Brand really wants stable early games, and Neferi is one of those champions that can very easily turn games into volatile. You are fighting over every single jungle camp on the map. So let's see what Griffin decides to do, because he's dropped a ward on the Raptor, and they know that's there. They're actually also, Sentinel's going to sweep this Raptor ward on the bottom side of the map. So Griffin, now, if he wants to start on those Raptors, will be on vision. And there will be no defensive cover. So Harmbuck going to start on this blue buff, very standard. Has Comet, so he's going to have Transcendence, going to have a bunch of CDR. Should have the CDR baked in room. And that is what allows you to clear and get your passive off on these camps early on. So let's keep our eyes on Harmbuck. And the expectation is he just wants a full clear. Over on the opposite side, Griffin. Oh yeah, look, he's doing the wraparound. And here's the thing, Harmbuck's first camp clear is super slow. So that Gromp, it's still there. It's still there. We need to pan over there, because Griffin, he's walked in.
Gromp now.
It's his Gromp soon. Oh, Huhi.
Trying to make that fight happen. Okay, there's the play there as well. That makes things a little bit tricky. I see where you're looking at production. There's the heal. They are fighting over this priority, but it looks like Griffin does force Harmbuck off. And he did indeed get that camp steal. Now looking at the wall. Can just keep fighting. There's that W, but again, doesn't have that ability to get the full combo off, so the passive, difficult to guarantee. The Dark and Daggers fly. Griffin continues to fight, trying to spread some damage. It has indeed reset. That's awful now for Harmbuck. Where's the support? We're nowhere near, because again, you've got Sivir Luli. There's no way you're fighting for that prio. Trying to get away with the clear down here.
Griffin, okay, Griffin has Cosmic Insight. His smite's up sooner.
Oh my God,
it's just free.
Great read on that, Jamada. There you go. Gets the smite, gets the back, can reset for the daggers and come back out and fight. Now actually tried to put a roam in mid lane and forces the flash away from Darkwings as Quad went looking with that blazing fire to look for the kill.
Harmbuck is still level 2 on the chickens, man. And Griffin has his respawn timers on both of his camp spot. They know that he would have just gone straight to his chickens. He has to do Krugs to hit level 3.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
This is rough.
There's a world here where Griffin does Gromp and then goes scuttle and full clears.
Yeah. I mean, he could actually.
You want to give as little up here as you can.
After Gromp, it depends on how stable he wants to be and what he thinks about the lane priority, right? Because if he does his small camps, leaves that top crab up, I would be super surprised if he leaves that top crab up, man. I think he should just. For me, maybe he has the time, and maybe I'm just bad at maths. I think Gromp, Crab, Raptors, Gromp. Like enemy Gromp, and just like keep it going just for one more rotation. Here is obviously the path in. Griffin off vision, dupes Harmbuck into a false sense of security, simply walks in. The passive is already ticking. That is so unfortunate for Harmbuck, because there's nothing he can do about it. His passive procs the jungle pet, so it's just going to keep on ticking it down lower and lower until it's in smite range.
Yeah, the burn is on there. There's not much you get to do about it. The topside Scuttle Crab did go the way of Griffin, who's warded his own blue buff just to make sure the Brand doesn't get down towards that Brand. Actually just ran straight bot Scuttle Crab to get to hold of that one. Don't think if there was a ping there on the Raptors. I wonder whether Brand managed to get in there. I don't think so, but I'd have to look back over the VOD and see on that one. Either way, still going to be a significant lead here to the Neferi, and as we have seen, junglers that get ahead, particularly in the farm lead early, tend to stay ahead, and both of these junglers are voracious carry options. Look, the CC's not great from FlyQuest, but the target access ain't bad. Everyone can run at you from a long, long way away and keep doing it.
I want to make a call here. Griffin is going to reset. I think he might just run straight to chickens. I think however, doing this red buff... No, he's pinging his blue... Oh, he wants the Krug invade. Okay. You can see on the minimap. So, he has the timer on the Krugs... sorry, or rather, on the chickens in his head. Because he knows that he's got the wolf spawn, right? By doing red, he is going to be late to the chickens. So he's going to leave that be. And he's going to hit the blue buff. But I think the miscalc he's made is thinking that Harmbach did Raptors, red, and then Krugs, and will have time to do blue and make it to the Krugs. So let's just assess what happens, because I feel like he might not make it in time. But also Harmbach was on those chickens for a while. I wonder if he reset. It's kind of hard to say.
He's not got back. He's got no AP. He clears really slowly on the reset because they know they've got to know these over there now.
They saw the dagger.
Fight this.
Harmbach's got smite.
Look,
he should get
Griffin's
the big
got
one.
buff still.
Yeah. Oh, the little ones. One little one. I mean, not the biggest loss of Harmbach in the end, but that could have been a lot worse. And all of that comes down simply to the fact of Griffin thought he did red and then Krugs. If
that's crazy.
Harmbach didn't do chickens and then Krugs, his second rotation Krugs are gone. So really insane read here. There is so much going on just between these two junglers at the minute. It is super impressive. And the fact that these laners have effectively not moved, it's like the jungle is just its own game at this moment in time.
Yeah, it is. Impact was a little bit at a risk there as Gakos went hopping on forward. Didn't quite get in range for something like a good boulder toss or not Mega Nara into the wall. But either way, Huki now comes mid, looking to get Darkwing some shove through here. And this jungle matchup is going to be a tense one. Make no mistake about it. When's our next Scuttle Crab spawning? Looks like it'll be topside. There'll be a retreat ping coming on forward.
I mean,
from
Griffin,
the like of Sentinels.
Griffin will have 6 off of those chickens. So I feel like he can do whatever he wants. If he's been keeping very apt track of the enemy jungle camps, he also knows that, root, Darkwing's there, flash.
Oh, there's the spiraling despair, and the dogs come flying on in. Who let the dogs up? Turns out it was Quad. Sent them forwards and 6 them onto Darkwings, who did not enjoy that particular experience and goes down. That's the first kill of the game. Over towards Quad. An assist onto the Neferi, who now gets the Scuttle Crab and spawn on the top side as well. The hook is a pixel away from Cryogen, who will be thanking his lucky stars that one didn't land.
I feel like Griffin might end up running this game. I've got this sneaking suspicion because I feel like Neferi can play real hard.
Oh, right.
Good feat from Cryo. Like, who stops?
Anyone at the yeah,
who stops
I mean, maybe the Nautilus
properly. You know, that's my concern. This dragon actually will go over to Harmbach and the rest of Sentinels. So Chemtech Dragon will be good, but Griffin is getting 2 camps out of this. Because remember, he's got the timer on the Krug, so he knows the Krugs are there. And again, just it's the art of deduction. This entire game is just about pathing. And so he's going to get 2 camps to that. He might even be level 6. Can we hit the XP button?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that, yes.
Yeah, can
He's going to be level 7 off this for sure, I think.
Yeah. Man.
We'll get none of those.
This is a problem. And now he has his own camps to go inside. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Has he? His smite's coming up soon. Like, he can literally drop grubs. Like, it doesn't even matter that much. Like, he can stay here and contest it because he's got ult. And Brand can't really play into Neferi.
TP.
You can see who he has to teleport up here to even make this somewhat a fair fight. There's some shenanigans
Around the corner is Griffin, looking at this. Oh, wonderful hound pursuit. Quad is there. The Molten Fisher comes on down, calls the pack to get involved a little bit more as well. And Suhi is just leading away.
Oh, he got the reset. No, he didn't get a reset. But Hambak's still there.
Oh, Ambak's not having fun though. I mean, he's got a
Maybe
flash
a
to
flash.
dream, but where to go? He's still going to try and get out the Dark Daggers. A severing bolt, the bleed, the eviscerate went to next Dark Daggers.
Oh, what?
Oh, the stun of the turret! Masu nearly low parted to drain him everywhere. What is going on? Jungler for jungler, AD carry for AD carry.
Classic cool blood for the blood god, I guess. Yeah, everyone is just kind of blundering a little bit mechanically. Some very, very fun trades. And breathe. Yeah, this is what we get out of this. We get to breathe because felt like that was a bit of a boiling point moment. And I'm surprised in this weird way more didn't happen, but so much did at the same time because of this bot side trade. My assumption here is Masu maybe got clipped by a Slurkle, and then that emboldened Rahel to step forward and continue to
He's got a
trade.
spell shield, and he thought he was
Yeah.
all right. So I'm guessing it must be the Slurkle then, you would imagine. Indeed it is.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, Masu's just been taking these poor trades down here in
mana.
isolation. He's down the level. Maybe if he hits, you know, the minion. He does get the level up HP, actually. We didn't get to see that when we panned down. But man, action everywhere. But now, this is where things can kind of recoup a bit. Oh, Griffin. Darkwings, you need to be careful. But this is where things can kind of recoup for Hambak, because I have no doubt in my mind that everyone has kind of lost great spell shield. A little bit of track. Oh no, Griffin has not lost track of where these jungle camps are. He's up
We
on
need
those
to go on to
crugs.
Krugs,
He is fist fighting over that camp yet again. Booby.
Let's dodge away. Actually, bot lane, you're right. There is a little bit of action happening there. I get you, observers. Worry not. There is a fight over those quads. Can you see who got that, though? Check on that a little later. Quad left kind of low there by that Gravity Field and Arcane Storm. Hex Flash out of the bush. Masu will then press the R button and begin to go on the hunt, threatening this Nautilus on the turnaround play because he doesn't have the hook because he didn't hit a wall. That got a bit dicey. Grubs are rather still up. Griffin gets a couple of them there. 1 for 1 actually at this point. Hambak's going to try and get the next. But a smite from Griffin secures it. Scuttlecrab being sent the other direction should mean that the doggo picks that one up.
Yeah. Good stuff from Griffin. Kind of like feigned he had smite. Maybe Hambak's was just a few seconds away, and it just kind of looked like it was up. You know, always, it's kind of the thing with some of the timers. But again, so much farm to now be acquired by Griffin. He's almost certainly going to have his next item pretty much on his base, on demand. I think he's going to clear his top camps here, reset for Drake. That's normally kind of the Goldilocks timer before 40 seconds. As I say that, however, Log is on the move. He's sniffing something. They did actually catch him
His
on,
dominance is down from impact. Okay.
yeah, on some vision. I don't
Doing
know.
this anyway? Okay.
Yeah.
The ability to potentially reset some aggro. The Eviscerate forwards get the kill. Jump away. And they're out of turret aggro. Nicely done. Kill secured. They will probably give up Dragon setup for this. Could
Ah,
potentially
poor
still
Masu.
contest.
Poor Masu. He just wants some. Oh no. Oh. I mean, hey,
Okay,
look,
the
small
gold
ones
is in
are
the little
worth.
ones.
Look, the small.
Yeah.
The small ones are worth like as much, but still feels bad, and you can start to see some of the CS discrepancy.
Nefarious
And this
coming.
is a good, good bit of mind games.
Hang on.
For the Sentinels, but
That's
Griffin
right.
is now here.
Yeah, okay, can't do that much on that one. I wondered whether they could keep running, but again, I guess without the Hound's Pursuit would have been a little bit tricky. There's a lot of wards here in this bot side river, though, for Sentinels. How many control wards they've got down there? They've got like 3 or 4.
Just a few.
They want this dragon.
Let's see. Because, I tell you, Griffin's passed away. And Hambak has started
Staying
this.
on that fight. Yeah.
That's strange.
Too early
Griffin's... Maybe he just procced it off of the walls, but I could have sworn Griffin had upgraded Smite as he walked bot. So
He does. Yeah, he does. But doesn't want to take it. And now actually he's going to leave the bot lane a little alone. Masu needs to back away. Out comes the depth charge. Masu gets hit. Rooted up. Wild Growth buys time. Hambuk looking for the Pillar of Fire. Gets a burn onto Masu, but little more. But that is going to force them to reset. Everyone is here. They're going to dive top again.
it's another dive top. Griffin can reset the tower aggro. There is no Dominus.
Can
And...
it? Oh my days, just shunned to the wall. A little bit of a conqueror. Turret shot is indeed.
the tower's still
re-aggroed
wrapped.
the wall up. Still hot. The Darking Daggers will finish up the kill. It's nicely managed in the end. Down towards the bot lane we go. The Arcane Storm Master gets a lot of shielding, though. And now actually, Darkwings gets hit by that Severing Bolt, needs to back away. Dive successful topside, not on the bot, but Masu is still going to be the one who ends up dropping a little bit there of farm. They're down about 10 CS now. However, Gatgos has been given so many resources to get well ahead of Impact. And the other person who's been benefiting, of course, is Griffin.
He has the Eclipse going towards Black Cleaver. He is going to be so scary. One thing I want to point out, because you know, we're talking about the other side of the jungle matchups because Griffin has been the one that's been dictating so much, but Harmbach has made it to his first item. And I'm kind of surprised in this weird way it isn't a Rylai's rush just in this very specific scenario, man. It could be just because Harmbach is not super practiced. So
Just
your
deal
versus
with the
3
micro
range,
speeds?
yeah, like I feel like just having the AoE slow when you've already got other damage threats earlier is just slightly more impactful. Because now you're not looking at having that item, you know, until maybe 20 minutes into the game, right? Like, you won't have it at next Drake, that's for sure.
For sure.
And
Yeah,
third Drake is normally the important one. Now, obviously, you know, you can't see into the future, into, you know, a crystal ball and see, Griffin is going to, you know, breathe down my neck on every camp that I play.
Make sure this clip is here, because if Jamada is wrong, this is the moment. 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Cryogen gets hit by the Pillar of Flame, doesn't need to back away, gets the heal. A bit more to work, won't find anything more.
Harmbach kind of got high ground, low grounded on that Q. That felt kind of bad. I feel like that should have connected. Anyways, it does get Cryo's heal, so can't be too mad about it. It's just will clear away, and so will the side lanes. But you can see on the bottom side they are trying to pressure out Quad just a bit. Actually gonna dive him. Griffin's close enough he can respond.
Gravity Field, CC Chain is absolutely ridiculous. Quad survives for a second or two. He's got no mana, just about gets away with it. I do not believe it. Throws down that tranquil pool, and he is zen enough to escape. Gatgos now being run as Handback begins to return the favor. Flash Hot, the Pillar of Flame, the Seer, the Pyroclasm, and he'll go down.
Quad's gonna have to lose his flash. Yeah, that's if he does suck.
Handback.
Well, Quad
That's not good.
did glide on him, but also Harmbach, you know? We'll leave that as what it was.
Okay, yeah, look. Jamada's telling silence is enough of a commentary in and of itself. Let's play it in mid lane here. Look at the Herald. Perhaps that's more interesting. And then the incredible severe wave clear.
Griffin is on the Herald. See where they decide to use it. Top tower is really low. They could use that for a gold injection. Mid lane, of course, to try and secure priority in 60 seconds time. Also another fun thought to think about. Gakkos uses his R. No, can't actually use it, and that's kind of important. Actually, that's the difference maker. You know what? If he gets the cast R and he doesn't take chip damage, I think he has enough HP to survive the brand like explosion. But then there's this so.
Oh man.
Oh, does he run out of mana?
Great route. Yeah,
it's a great route. I think Harmbach ran out of mana to cast another W. I don't quite know.
He's gone mana flow band to try and get some more mana, because again, for all you're jungler and you get mana from being in the jungle, Brand's mana cost is just really high.
Yeah, funnily enough, so he's actually got mana flow band, but he's not been in combat enough to fully stack it yet.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny.
Yeah, true. Okay, we've got 20 seconds until Dragon, so we probably do have to talk about that one in the sense, of course, Infernal Soul Point for Sentinels would be a win condition, and FlyQuest have given up the last couple Dragons to really put pressure onto this top lane and the power of this Gnar and the Fury combo, but now Sentinels, again, have just got wards all over the bot side river, and FlyQuest have to find their way through the early warning system that Sentinels have invested so heavily into.
So much vision control. I'm not sure how much it will matter, but this is when it can get a bit annoying. You're walking into Brand, you're walking into Victor lasers. The approach here from Fly is difficult. They have to... I don't know,
like
actually. I actually don't know what they can do. Herald is an answer, yes.
I
think they have to drop it. Oh, they can.
Okay. Wild Growth buys him a bit of time before the pack keeps him safe for now. Dragon goes down, but the kill goes away. And there's the reset. In we go. Tries to Pillar of Flame to fight down, immediately seeing him down. And now Master and Quadra need to run away. And Rahel will say, no, you do not. The Kanmei step will allow him to keep pace. And he keeps running with that cultivation of spirit for a triple kill.
Not the best use of a reset. And it cost them dearly because remember, they didn't get the dragon. So they... Oh. Okay, for a second, this pan made me think that,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Impact's coming.
What died
He's
mid?
keep you out.
What died mid by? I think.
Oh, yes,
So-
he did. I
yeah,
don't
he
know
died to
when that
Hanbok.
happened. By the looks of it, it might have been
Had to have
Hanbok.
been
Yeah, he's
Hanbok.
got another kill there. We'll have
Yeah.
to have a look again. Here's the start of this one as the Hound's Pursuit went right onto the Nautilus. This part was largely okay.
Yeah, that was fine. Griffin, this is where like the inexperience thing kind of comes in, where it's like, okay, I've got reset, I'm going, you know, and then it's not good. The rest of FlyQuest not really able to follow up on that, and it does, unfortunately, lead to his bottom laners being a bit more exposed than they would have liked. Griffin needs to take a bit of a chill pill.
Worth noting, by the way, that what happened to Quad, I watched the minimap, was a flash from Impact on a flank, managed to get on top of Way, and that was where that all went wrong. Now flashing for the House to shoot Rahel. Remember, Boot is flashing the last play, and a Yunara without that is a lot more vulnerable. She tries to trade, and does a good work of it, but now actually potential jump in here on the handback. There's a blast code, interrupts that dash. The Wild Growth used to keep the Neferi up and running, and as a result, everyone else survives.
Yeah, that knock-up connects onto Hanbok. I think he just dies and gets run down. That said, though, I mean, he's got now got Riyadh, so that would have been a lot of damage thrown back in his face. Hard to say for sure. That said, however, pick is still onto Rahel, and Gakos is wrong side of the map, guys.
Thinking about this one.
Yeah, let's swap. Let's do a little bit of ring around the rosy. Just pretend that we didn't
Ships
see
in the
each
night.
other. Yeah, ships in the night.
Neferi is on her red buff at this point, and again, what we can see that actually we do have the Rylai's completed out from Handback, who got involved with some of those kills. Okay, not quite for the last one. But you know what? Nearly wrong, Jemima. Get away with it this time. Just about. Okay?
Just about.
Warning.
Just about. I am checking. Is Quad gonna have Horizon? Yes. Okay, so he's got Horizon Focus. He has a lot of damage, a lot of survivability. And also just, I suppose, the vision thing, that's going to be quite nice to have.
Quick note as well, we are seeing that Rahul has not gone towards the Fiend Hunter bot. It's very unusual for He's gone towards the Phantom Dancer because he just says, hey, I need the move speed in this game to try and, like, kite out all of this dive and just move speed comp from FlyQuest.
It's good stuff. Quite like it. Quite like it overall.
Protoplasm for Huhi as well, no locket or anything. Of course, it's just quite a good item right now. And also, the Civ has gone towards the kind of full-on stacking scaling both of the Gunpowder Wild Arrows. We are going to have to hold on talking about items, though, as Huhi was left dangerously out of position there for a second. Gakos will pick up this other turret, and again, he's been donated a lot of resources. He's gotten him ahead of Impact on the whole. Now in a position where he can potentially become a side lane win condition, where I don't think either the Victor or the Gnar, or the Renekton rather, have the most fun into the 50 CS lead Gnar, who is building towards what looks to be a wit's end third. TP behind here to find no one.
Vision. Nah, vision. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what you need. It's okay.
That's something they don't have here.
They don't have... No, it's very dark, in
Yeah.
fact. This is a very, very blank barren pit. No one's actually going to be in there at that point. But thank you for Toggle nonetheless. Worth pointing out as well, Infernal Soul in 50 seconds. And once again, Sentinels are beginning to litter wards absolutely everywhere. This was really problematic the last time, and FlyQuest really suffered in their ability to find their way into said part of the map.
I like FlyQuest. They need to try and bully their way into this bottom side of the map. Like, the vision control on Nash is nice and all. But it's the soul, right? Like, Infernal Soul on Brand, Victor, like, it's just so much extra damage.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you have to W that.
Palo Flame. Okay,
It's
they've
so
got some
much
water a
extra
little bit there.
damage.
That's a bit better. Still, face checking this is not fun. Dragon up, 10 seconds.
I don't think
Using the wave
Sentinels should
skill
be...
to spark.
They shouldn't be giving up this ground at all.
No.
They should be holding a little bit more. I mean, they've already dropped the wave, right? I feel like just the best thing you do is push them back a bit more.
Lasco, they know the impact's there. He's still on vision, and actually good job from FlyQuest to get in here. Using that Gaze of the Abyss to take up some space on the way. That's good. Dragon started down to 5,000 HP. It's going to come down to a flip, and we all know it at this point. Can they keep Griffin away from the Dragon? 3,000, still burning. Gravity field eviscerated. Oh, come on, Figure. It's going to be taken, but by Griffin. Big wing, call the back off cooldown on the other side. We're seeing a big old fight as the Northern is deleted. The call of the pack of the hounds pursue. Handback goes golden, but I think you're coming up silver this time around. A double to Quad's way. And they'll run away with the kills on 3, and Baron is up. Smite fight 1, and FlyQuest fight for the vision, win the vision, and everything else on top of it.
I can praise FlyQuest for the fight, but I thought Sentinels gave up so much ground there. It is a bit bewildering. They can just hold FlyQuest at arm's length, and yes, they've dropped mid-cryo, but it wouldn't be the end of the well once the wave starts bouncing back. That's my read, at least. And
It's for Soul as well. Like, you can drop a tower for Soul. Come on.
yeah. And for doing so, not only do they lose the fight, because Griffin's able to find that backline access off of a reset. Lose the Nash too, so this is a huge gold swing in favor of FlyQuest. And all of the inner structure is still up. A lot of standing gold to be taken. You'd imagine that only balloons this gold lead ever so slightly higher as the siege looks to begin soon.
Worth knowing as well, we didn't get a chance to talk about it that last time, but Rahul came into that fight with 3 items, just picked up the Hex Optics, looking to play with the Hex Optics Phantom Dancer build to kind of come out from Ashe mains, who were kind of playing around with that. Didn't get to use it really. It was kind of drop position as we noted. We thought that would be some way to contest for space. Doesn't happen. Now you're looking in the inventories and I'm seeing the fact that actually Gakos with this build is going to be increasingly hard to blow up with the CC chains. Derek, its end, the tenacity's getting very strong. Death's Dance is done for Griffin now as well. That is going to be a problematic set of champions to just guarantee kills on.
Let's see how the siege looks. There's a lot of wave clear on Sentinel's side. They are holding this wave quite high, you know. Pushing on the mid lane, that's where FlyQuest are actually going to need to make their move. I think they should just swing in. I think they should maybe... yeah, I like this from Griffin. Mid wave instead. Okay. A lot of damage, you know. And Sentinels, they've got some other numbers here. And this is what they've got to do, just kind of push and pull them between these two towers. Make them decide.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Get it in the end. Let's see. Red buff as well. They've got a wave pushing too on the top side. Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate
I
you.
did catch it for a sec. I heard what was going on a little. I was like,
ooh, I'm going to stay quiet while my internet decides to have a little bit of even a brief siesta. Unfortunately, it came at a time where the game allowed for that. Otherwise, you would have to try your play-by-play, Jamada.
Hey, my play-by-play is not bad. How do you
I
know?
believe it. I believe it. You want to take the next fight? Prove me right?
As long as it's not a Dragon Soul, I mean, I'll take you up on it.
That. Yeah, that's fair. The problem is it's going to be Dragon Soul, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Okay,
thing.
I might have to take that one. I'm really sorry. You know, I tried.
No. It's fine, really.
Actually, with that in mind, let's check in on some of those items as well, because Gakos now has the Wit's End. Look, they're kind of having gone Sterix before that. That's a lot of tenacity. Makes it things like jumping onto Impact pretty scary. Forced to teleport away before this Dragon as well. He's now going to probably have to reset. He loses that big shield, which he'd have loved to use as a flank. Sivir, by the way, has got Fiend Hunter Bolts third to really play with this itemization a little bit and kind of make sure those initial autos after the ult really hit hard and match that Nara burst a little bit.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's a shoddy pickup.
More Dom's probably at this point or something.
There's no way that can be Biss. Very low chance. I mean, it's you know, LDR. I mean, your two AD items. Like, I feel like an attack speed item third isn't bad when you press tab and just see the generally low armor stats on the enemy team. But yeah, I mean, hell, I'll be honest, even a BT, like, even a BT third would
Yeah.
made sense in this like specific context. But yeah, we'll see how much damage this Fiend Thunderbolts does. I have learned not to question itemization too hard, but sometimes, you know, like look at that chunk right there. What if he gets hit by another laser?
Things get a bit difficult, I agree. Not happening right now, but for once, FlyQuest are now in charge of the river. It's Sentinels who have to do the face checking. They've got the Pillars of Flame, but again, no one here really wants to do the face checking aside from maybe the Nautilus, and that's not the most fun. Gakos building towards the Mega. He's a bit scary. Takes impact out of about half. Reminder, he's already had to blow his teleport. No easy way for him to reset.
Look at
Masu
Masu's health. Where did this go?
eaten so much damage. They're going to jump in, though. Who he forced to flash. The split buys Hammer. Gets shunted back into the team. The Wild Throws follow. The Hounds pursue. And they are absolutely crying havoc and letting slip the dogs of League of Legends as every bolt comes across. Gakos back down to the mini now. He'll be the extra AD carry. Masu might be dead, but worry not. You've got damage elsewhere. There's a tier 2 and a dream to try and run away. I don't know whether Griffin's going to allow them to get to there. No, he gets the clip kill, but he's on top of the gravity field. Just about
awkward.
slips out and out. But now Gakos is a bit alone, and Rahel just says, yeah, mate, do you not win the 1v1 versus me? Gets that kill back. A little bit awkward. The Dragon's still up, but they just lost one of their additional members. They need to pick this up now before the respawns come on through. Bit messy from FlyQuest.
Dragon Nash off sync with the respawn timer, thankfully, so they are able to just pick this Dragon up. They'll be able to reset, walk back to top side, and keep it going. Good fight all in all off the back of Gakos. And I was a bit worried when he started to proc up the Narbar here, because I thought to myself, if Sentinels just kind of click down, they shouldn't really be too threatened, but they decide to engage, and this decision costs them everything. Harmbach feels like he can't flash over the wall, maybe. Gets hit up by that Gnar. And once he dies, see, that's going to be Dragon, and a lot of damage just doesn't get chucked out. In fact, Harmbach dies without pressing his R-key. He doesn't actually have the time to.
Here's where it goes a bit wrong, though, Jamada, because they decide to keep chasing, and this might have been, as they say, a step too far.
Yeah, step too far. What other synonyms for that saying? A bridge too far. Technically not. It's the same thing with a different word in it. Anyways, that's what FlyQuest did. And this is audacious. They're hitting that, right?
Okay,
yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. Again, you are in the way. It gets a bit dicey, though. The hunt comes on in, and Griffin gets into the pit, looking to try and smite around it. I'm not sure the hell to be barring on. It's relatively low. They're going to get the wild throw. Down to 40 under one by the Brand. They get the kill on the Fury, and that makes things a bit more spicy. 5v4. Blast for the Pyroclasm going across everyone. Quad's been slowed. The Rylai's is dead. The Arcane Storm is following. The back away. They will keep everyone else alive, but Baron this time goes the way of Sentinels, because of course it does. 3,000 gold lead to FlyQuest, but not that much to work with. They need to reset and get out of here. This mid-turret, one for the world is who he wants to interrupt. Might do, and that'll get someone to not go back straight away.
Yeah, the Gambit pays off. Able to secure that Nash. It went down to 12 HP, and you know what? I've got a feeling a jungle pet or the brand burn was what got it.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it was a smite. As this tower is just getting shredded. He's alright. He's got a lot of space to work with. I'd love it, yes. And I'm really hoping the replay slows down at that 1.4k HP marker, because, I mean, oh, it was a smite in the end. It was Harmbach, so you can hear it as well. But 12 HP, you've got to feel bad for Griffin then.
That's nearly spot on. Nearly spot on.
There's just not much you can do. There's a tenth of a second in difference between the smiting.
Yeah, well, nearly at a 4th item for Masu, but Rahel is now at 4.5 items on this Hunara, and that's making things quite tricky. In fact, I'd love to go over the gold briefly, because it's worth noting exactly how much ahead this Hunara now is. Having a very good game at this point. I'm not always the biggest fan of the late game Hunaras, but she certainly got damage at this stage. And if she gets a few more fights like that last one, things get scary indeed for Fly. But all the while in the victim picture, Gakos did pick up that tier 2. The next one's trying to run at them a little, and they are still trying to pick up what they can from them at FlyQuest. Griffin, it's a bit of damage there. The slow's a little obnoxious, but you are still in the Fury. Enough healing off the Dark and Dagger should be seeing you right.
Don't forget as well, we are approaching that point with that much gold. Rahel will hit critical mass Will he have LDR here? Let's see. I kind of lost track of his goal. I know we could technically pull it up. Do we have the button to? That's one of the things.
Back up again for you. I did. There you go. That's the goal.
No. Well, the holding goal. You know, that's one of the things. I'm gonna run for a second. Like modern HUDs, we've lost that. That is actually functionality. That's functionality we've lost. I don't know. I don't know how that's happened. It's like it's not the observers' fault. It's not any,
like
you quite literally just have to be like observers. Can you flick it over? That's the only thing you can do when you've got the HUD set up like this. But yeah, that's something that I've always found quite strange with the modern takes on HUDs. It feels like a bit of accessibility loss.
We'd like that. It would be nice.
Yeah.
Dawn Core done, by the way, for Cryogen.
Yeah.
We are getting to the point now where some of our
scaling
enchanter items are getting in there. Yeah, it's a fairly scary one. Randuin's done for Gatgosval, who is playing full tank Gnar at this point, to be dealing with some of these scarier damage threats. 30 seconds till Dragon. This is going to be a big one again. Last one went the way of FlyQuest. The problem was the reset for Baron after were a little dicey.
Sentinels will have control of the river.
It's onto with one of the dogs, who he eats a lot of damage. And again, the Northland struggling to have a lot of fun here. Eviscerate away, the death rate slightly wide. That goes delete the Mega. Impact force to flash. The Searing Bolt, Severing Bolt, that's the one. I'm going to back away on this one.
This is awkward. It's the same situation as the last Dragon. Sentinels have dropped the wave, but they've got position. And they're giving ground. Oh! It's a massive ultimate from Gakkos! And I mean, Sentinels are just getting picked apart. There's so much AoE damage. Griffin needs to find his way out of there because Rahel's finding damage on Masu. And Sentinels, they still have position, but they've lost their jungler. Griffin's ticking down. He's 200 HP. Darkwings, he's fishing. He can try and find the max damage laser, but Rahel, look at him. He's on the dragon. Quad's gonna find him out. All of a sudden, things are getting dicey. No one sees Griffin till right now, but Masu, he's looking to end the game. Sentinels, they're in a headlock. They've got to figure out what they want to do. The answer is stick around for this dragon, but they're just spectators. A soul again is going to be denied, and it's 3 dragons apiece. I'm hoping Sam's back, as he's being fried by Berlin Internet, I'm afraid.
Literally, as you said, I hope he's back. I am back. I can't believe it. Well done. I made a little bit of a prophecy about saying maybe you'll have to do it around the dragon fight, and indeed you did. And to be honest, mate, you did me proud. What an insane fight. That Mega Gnar was just chef's kiss. The problem was afterwards, it got a little bit dicey.
Had it did. Sentinels were doing their absolute damnedest to try and squeak something out of that play. As now FlyQuest, they're hunting. Oh, Darkwings. Careful, Darkwings, Darkwings, Darkwings.
Severing Bolt. Back is just around. I got very nervous there. I'm with you, but that means he's going to be forced away. 30 seconds on the Baron, and it is another game that is going the distance. 6 dragons already taken. 7th and 4, a 3rd dragon in 20 seconds. One more win sends Sentinels to EWC. A loss. I think someone who's scraping silver. Not sure who that'll be yet, but my days, it just feels like it's on the air, doesn't it? It couldn't be any other way between these two teams. Still a Baron dance to come, and I'm not quite sure who's going to be taking the lead. FlyQuest will start it. Here we go. Sentinels need to find their way in. Darkwings on the other side. Where is Hamburg? Got the flash and a dream. Not the easiest for the brand to get in here. They pull back, maybe looking for the turn. Down to half. Not going to come any further than that. Looking to keep chunking people out. FlyQuest with the poke is becoming increasingly obnoxious. 6k indeed. Still keeping it aggro. Still having that problem with the dogs. Can take that one to him. Here we go. Mega Gnar again. Gatgos. Delete Hamburg. He does go down though, does the Gnar. There's Crypt Bloom, it's healing. And the problem is Darkwings is pretty scary. They need to time out this Arcane Storm. On the other side, they might not they need to get in here. 3,000 HP, they can't take this away. Griffin threatening needs to get over here and look for the steal. It's at 3k. We'll have the Eviscerate and the Dream. The Dark and Daggers come across. They're trying to keep him out of the pit. They are going to run away from it. He can't get in. He's just taking the smite. And now Masu gets run out and Rahel deletes him. Jungler dead. It was all done by Gakkos. He done all the hard work, but Griffin can't stay in the pit. The front line's not there, and now the poor Lulu has a little bit of whimsy, but it's snuffed out. They're going to fight for mid.
They can end. They can end.
I can't believe it.
It's just one up with the wave clear. This could be series.
I can't believe this. They're going to have to try real hard. There's some TPs in 4v2. They must keep rolling. 30 seconds on Clutch and 10 on Gakas. We'll probably have a 3v4, but the next turret under siege very swiftly. Quad slowed down. Gonna try and get the damage down. The monster vision comes on down. Griffin goes in, but look at impact. Stunning up Quad. Getting rid of the wave clear. They've blown up the Neferi. They've blown up Quad. They have blown up FlyQuest hopes of going to Esports World Cup today. Sentinels will not be denied a win again. The road ends with Sentinels at the lead.
3-1 the series. 1-3 in the LCS, but they've qualified for EWC. Mental stuff from Sentinels, and what a turnaround. Just for context, before that fight, and obviously we were deep into the game at this point, FlyQuest had a 4K gold lead. If it wasn't for those 2 kills that went over at the end, with the big shutdowns, Sentinels would have ended the game at a gold deficit. I really want you guys to wrap your heads around that for a second.
Oh my days. That game, it was FlyQuest's to lose. It was looking so good. They killed Hamback at the Baron. They had a 5v4. And it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. They force him out the pit. They take the Baron. They get the kills. And it all falls apart.
I am lost for words. Truly, I am just lost for words. It was a very hard-fought game, but it was one that felt like FlyQuest just had so much control in for so long. But again, there were just these moments where you looked at Masu, health bar very low. You look at somebody like Quad, health bar, you know, kind of chunked out, and maybe Griffin goes a bit too far forward. Just so many things still kind of edging on Sentinels to stay in this race. Even early moments like this, right? Like the trades going back and forth, but still, it shouldn't have mattered. It's a hard one to digest, and I'm a true neutral.
Yeah.
What a way for this to end.
We knew it was going to be a close game. We knew it was going to be a close series. Really, it feels like it should have gone to 5, but Sentinels just felt that bit more clutch in the late game stage, and Rahul on that Yunara just ended up putting out disgusting damage in these later fights. Here's one of the ones that got real spicy. That's the one that went down to 12 HP. It was Michael Bay inspired cinema, make no mistake about it, and it got down to such narrow margins. I genuinely thought that Meganar was about to win them the game. I really did. So the Riyadh slow stopped the follow-up.
And Hambach as well, don't forget. They just like stepped so
Yeah.
far forward to allow that opening to happen. I'm still trying to gather my thoughts, to be honest with you. It's rare I'm left speechless, but this is just one of those moments I can't really believe what I've just seen.
That was pretty remarkable. It was very, very entertaining, high action, high tension League of Legends. It wasn't perfect. There were some mistakes. There were some overreaches, some moments where it felt like FlyQuest had finally got what it took to get us to Silver Scripts. Hell, I was setting up for it. We had all the analogies ready, and Sentinels just said no. They were the team that came through the upper bracket, that beat FlyQuest before, and somehow, some way, here in the finals, LCS record be damned, they still come out on top 3-1, and they clutch it out. Adrian, a couple thoughts from you?
I mean, just congratulations, Sentinels, right? It does feel as though they've been a little bit hard done by in the LCS. All of their series have gone the distance, but they're 1-3 right now, sat 5th. But to be able to pull through in a double elimination bracket format and ride it through the upper bracket, that's going to be a huge confidence boost for them. Of course, the reward of going to EWC as well, knowing that having a guaranteed international penned in to the calendar has just got to feel so sweet.
The road to EWC here from North America ends with Sentinels going the distance. It was a hard-run thing, but worry not, guys. We have still got a little bit more to go this evening. We'll be interviewing Huhi from Team Sentinels just after this break, so do stick around. I'm sure the insights will be really, really cool. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, one and all. If you're just joining us, Sentinels just beat FlyQuest to make the final journey on that road to the Esports World Cup here in North America and the qualifiers for the League of Legends. It was a close run thing, and for all it was a 3-1, no game was easy. And to talk about it a little bit more with us, we have Huhi.
Hello.
Hey Huhi, how are you doing after that nail biter of a final game? Because that was getting real close, dude.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think the last game especially, it was a really hard game to play, especially given their comp. We thought we had longer range, but like, you know, when we were standing off at the Dragon and we're kind of getting pushed off in the poke battle, we were like, oh, so I guess we do have to engage first. And I feel like we just try to adjust from what we have to do and try to come up. Yeah.
So first up, I suppose, at this point as well, congratulations, you made it to the Esports World Cup. You did it through the upper bracket. I asked this question yesterday to Griffin, and we never got a full answer because it kind of cut off on us a little bit because the feed cut. It was very funny at the time, but I'd love to get this answer from you. The results in terms of the teams that made it all the way here to the finals at the road to EWC, very different to how results are going over in the LCS. I know your coach Golden Clue was talking a little bit about you guys as squad and saying like the ceiling's really high, but the floor sometimes catches you out a little bit. What's kind of been the difference for you guys in terms of making this massive run and making it all the way to EWC here, while the LCS struggles have been a little bit harder in some of those really tough 1-2 losses?
I mean, I think I can only speak for my team in general. So for my team, I do think on stage, especially on LCS, we do have those stage nerves a little bit that I can feel from my teammates. And on the EWC qualifier, we're kind of playing online. So even though it's a tournament, I think in the end they do feel less pressured and they are able to just kind of play like a scrim and kind of, in a sense, care less about their mistakes and just kind of focus on how to win the game. I think on stage there's just that extra pressure that like we're in a new environment trying to play, and even though it's gonna be the angles that I see my teammates gonna go for it in scrims, we don't kind of do it on stage, and our playstyle kind of becomes worse. So I think that's the main difference.
And I suppose the natural extension to that question then is, what steps do you feel like either you need to take or the team needs to take? How do you navigate trying to get that translation of, hey, like, okay, we're playing online in the office, it gives that scrim vibe, to making that confidence actually be present on stage? Because like we were kind of saying, you know, 1-3 in the LCS, you guys have had so many close series. It's clear that you guys are very, very talented. What does that translation look like? How do you get there?
I think it's just kind of good to use this kind of momentum, like especially EW's qualifier. Like we're so happy to win it. I think I want my teammates to know that we have what it takes to win the whole thing, and it's all about like our mindset, you know, like trying to be not scared. I do think by time we will naturally like get rid of those stage nerves here and there, and it's just about how can we like fast forward that process. And I hope that this like win will give us a lot of confidence going forward, so that we can kind of also start getting some wins on the LCS stage, so that we can make it to playoff.
And I wanna jump in one more time. Huhi, obviously you've had a very, very long career. It has been a couple of years since your last international appearance. I guess technically the Worlds qualifying series is like, it feels like it's like kind of Worlds, but 2023, back on the international stage. Are there any players? Obviously, you are the first team off the top of my head that's qualified to EWC. But is there a player, is there a bot lane maybe that you're hoping make it so you get to play them at the cup?
I mean, I think it's kind of like the same answer, I feel like, because we always watch LCK as a pro player, and like for me, I still think T1 is my favorite team to watch. They have the legend, the GOAT Faker there, you know, and Keria, the best support that I can think of. I just hope that, like you mentioned, me and Rahul haven't got the chance to play international tournament yet. So I'm just so happy to be able to play back on the international stage versus the best teams versus the best players. And also, I'm just so happy to make it to the EWC, because that was the one tournament that I haven't made it so far. I kind of made it all the other international tournaments throughout my career, and I'm just really excited for this opportunity.
Infinity Stones complete, I suppose. The Thanos of NA, getting all those gems for the gauntlet. Finally get that last international appearance. That's really, really awesome. Really glad to hear that as well. I guess to focus a little bit more on this series as well, because it did feel like every game was a bit of a bloodbath, very back and forth. But it turned out that, like, as the games went on, it felt like Sentinels got that little bit more clutch as well. What were the comms like in those kind of mid to late stages to get you guys over the line? Because they did feel pretty back and forth across the whole of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think mainly game 1 and 2, I thought it was pretty on our favor, honestly. I just thought that we were making a lot of unforced error when we were already in a winning position. So I guess in that sense, I was kind of like not yelling, but like telling my team that, like, you know, guys, like we basically won the game. Like, let's stop making silly mistakes. Game 3, I was a little, I guess, mad because I thought we should have won that game, but like we're just keep throwing it over and over. But like I think it was good to have like the mentality that we had, because after game 3 we're kind of joking, guys, now like a lot of junglers are gone, like Griffin's champ pool is kind of like gone. We're gonna ban like those 3 Mundo, Ambessa, and Nasus, so we weren't scared of him at all. I guess he pulled out another animal champion like the Nefiri on the game 4. But yeah,
it's another dog actually. Now that I think about it,
yeah, it's another dog. I don't know. He likes lots of animal. Yeah. But yeah, I think game 4 it was definitely a hard game, but yeah, I think we weren't focused about like how hard it was. I think we were more so focused on how can we problem solve. Like, it is what it is. I think in the end, it all comes down to one team fight. Let's try to position properly. Let's try to help each other. And I thought we were just more focused on that.
Fantastic. Well, last question from me, and it's an open one. Huhi, anything you want to say to the fans, to friends, anything else out there before we close the interview and let you get on with celebrating your qualification?
Yeah, I mean, I think thank you everyone for supporting Sentinels. I think Rob was also watching next to us. We can hear him clap, you know, whenever he gets really excited. Thank you to all my teammates as well. Thank you to my wife Angela, always supporting me, and to my 2 of my dogs. So, and thank you guys, everyone. Yeah.
A pleasure. That was a very wholesome end to the interview. Thank you again, Huhi. Congratulations on the win, and we'll let you get on with that whole celebrating business.
Thank you.
He's just a very lovely guy, isn't he? That was a very nice little ending to that.
He is. Like anytime you see Huhi in any interview anywhere, he is just super humble, super kind. And yeah, couldn't be happier for the guy, man. It has been a long time, good 3 years since you've seen Huhi on the international stage, and it will be exciting to see him return once more.
Well, I think with that in mind as well, it's probably time for us to bid everyone goodbye. Thank you for joining us here at the very end of this road to the Esports World Cup. The North American qualifiers finally end, and the team that made it the grand distance was indeed Sentinels, which is definitely a bit of a surprise. I just can't believe it. They made such a crazy run. There's a look at that bracket as well. They went all the way through the upper bracket, through all of those incredible teams. Cloud9, they took out Dignitas, FlyQuest again, and of course twice in a row, basically, to end it all up.
Yeah, all the way through, man. A clean run for Sentinels for the most part. Only dropping 2 games, and frankly, like who he said, even though I think he was being a little bit too kind to himself, but again, as you know, a lot of games just played. That game 3 was a little bit rougher than I think he remembered. In terms of game state, but hey, I guess if all of the gold is in Gwen, you kill the Gwen, game's playable, right? But they could have run away with that series and 3-0'd it, right? Like that was very, very much a 3-0-able series, and so could have only dropped 1 game, right? 1 game into obviously winning the entire thing here to qualify for EWC. So hopefully for them, that translates into the playoffs, right? Domestically, the LCS bracket is very similar. And I just hope they go far. They've definitely got it in them. If they can do it here, they can do it domestically too.
If they can do it here, they can do it domestically too. Perhaps it's the start of something very special for Sentinels. Either way, their journey in this particular tournament is done, and it ends with elation for Sentinels. FlyQuest will be kicking themselves. They were so close, and I feel for them, but they still get another shot through, of course, the LCS. One more team to qualify for the Esports World Cup for NA, but to find out who that is, well, you'll just have to tune into the domestic league. But from us here on the Road to EWC broadcast, we wish you a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are around the world. Until next time, goodbye.